From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold, we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets. Yep, so we got this Engineers to the Street episode 8, man. There was a lot going on this weekend, a lot of things going on. A lot of stuff, a lot of worldly things, and I just ready to talk about the worldly events, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. We just here, just rap, and we give it from our perspective, kick it to y'all, engineers. We always keep our ears to the streets, man. So that's what we're here to give y'all some real, uncut, unfiltered, unapologetic opinions and facts. We spit all types of stuff, man. So before we get to it, I'm gonna go ahead and get my boy Dr. TC on here, man. I'm Dr. PG. Also, too, I want to let y'all know we are on Spotify. Go check us out on Spotify, but most importantly, we are on YouTube as well. So go hit us up on the YouTube, man. Hit us up on the YouTube. Let us know how you like the episode so far and the topics that we talk about, and you can even suggest some topics yourself that you want us to talk about. And also, your comments will be fielded and revealed, if you will, on the next episode of the podcast. So you can send all comments and suggestions to the ticker that's going across your screen right now, engineearstothestreetz@gmail.com. Once again, it's engineers, spelled engineearstothestreetz @gmail.com, man. So let's see if we can go ahead and call up Dr. TC right now. Get him on the call, baby. But yeah, man, we love to hear from y'all, for real. We would love to hear from y'all. But shoot, while we wait for that to connect, let's see what we could talk about. Been some wild stuff, man. There's been some challenges going out, man. We see that, Lionel Messi out there in Miami. He doing well. I think they're undefeated right now for the MLS. So that's crazy. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's unexpected, because he's definitely considered, if not the best, definitely one of the best footballers out there. So man, that's fire. So they're undefeated right now. I don't know, I'm gonna be honest, man, I don't really watch MLS. I know it's sad, but Major League Soccer, when it comes to America, and men's at least, I'm not really interested in it. But that definitely brings some traction. We saw people like LeBron show up to his to his games and stuff like that. So greatness recognizes greatness, but I'm more concerned about the women's soccer, man. So, and they've been going crazy. Speaking of it, we gonna get right into it. The women's soccer, man. Women's World Cup. We have seen Spain won their first World Cup, man. Their first World Cup title, man. So shout out to the Spaniards. You know what I'm saying? They're doing a thing. Of course, the good times and the good joy. Controversy is not too far behind, But before we get to that, man, I want to man, I do not remember her name right now off the top of my head. I don't want to say the wrong name, but one of the Spain women's soccer players, it was like went from high to low. They actually won the title, won the World Cup, first time in history, and then she found out hours later that her father passed away, man. So it's just crazy how things go, man. We just got to life is very fragile. Fragility of life is crazy. So we just got to appreciate the times that we have with those that we love. So that's. My heart and my prayers and my thoughts go out to her. But on a lighter note, man, congratulations to them. Spain won their first title. But in addition to that, the crazy part is that even though they won their first title, and my heart still hurts because Nigeria got knocked out, Jamaica got knocked out, and the U.S. women's national team, they didn't do well at all. They're looking at 3P, and they actually fell very, very short of that. Actually, those are the earliest times that they were knocked out of the World Cups. Today. So that was bad. But we're not gonna focus on that. We're gonna focus on Spain. They did their thing. But of course, controversy doesn't fall too far behind. What was crazy? As soon as they won the title, they couldn't even get off the pitch. They were doing the medal ceremony, man. During the medal ceremony, they're giving out, accepting their medals from their presidents and the coaches and, the well-known authoritative figures there. They had something go down, apparently Luis Rubiales, who was the president of the Spain Soccer Federation, he kissed one of the players. The player that he kissed was none other than Jenny Hermoso. He grabbed her by the back of the head and pulled her in for a big smooch. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be completely honest. First, let me sip my ting. You know what I'm talking about. When I initially saw this, I was like, okay, come on, man, y'all over exaggerating. It's not that serious. That was me, because I'm thinking, like, you know, they're happy. It's a family. It's probably a family environment, you know. But then I thought about it. I was like, no, I can't just think that was okay, you know. So I was like, no, that's not okay. And then I was like, let me do a little bit of research. And apparently, when asked, shout out to Jenny Hermoso, you could tell she was like, first off, when she asked about it, she said no, she didn't like it. But you could tell her answer, and the way, to me, the tone of her answer was more so that, like, she don't want to stir the pot, and she don't want to add any more controversy. She just wants to live in the moment and doesn't want anything to bring down the fact that they just won their relation from winning the championship, the World Cup, you know, and rightfully so. But it's like, dude, you know. And then I saw the footage where he kisses her, and it's like, bro, you don't know, like, what if she's in a relationship? I don't know if she's in a relationship, you know. I don't even know if she like men, you know. I don't even know if she like him, you know. Just because you're in a work relationship don't mean, you know, it's for the betterment of the company or the team or the project or the group, whatever it is. That don't mean that me and you vibing like that, the way you just put a smooch on me like that. What's wrong with you, bro? You almost called it. You might should have called a jab. But you know, but the crazy part of that is that you know, he has taken accountability. He was like, you know, I just got caught up in the moment. And people might be like, oh, it's not a big deal. But it is kind of a big deal, because you don't want to force yourself upon somebody. And you don't want to try to seem like you're taking advantage of the moment. And especially when it's an employer-employee relationship. Because, yes, this is sports. Yes, it's entertainment. But she's a soccer player. He's the president of the Soccer Federation of Spain. So she's essentially his employee. And you just do that without provocation, without her consent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so and the fact that you're a male and she's a female. So we already know the connotation with that is not always positive. You know, it might look like you're forcing yourself upon her. And that's just not right, you know. So you can't do that, you know. It looks like you're the man and just doing whatever you want to do with your female staff or you know, with the players or however you want to look at it. And yeah, that's not cool. And then also, in addition to that, you know, head coach Jorge Vilda, he has a history of misconduct himself, and Eva has had 15 players, which are known as the Last 15. You know, they protested just last year. So keep up with this information. Keep up with what's going on. You know, you can't just look at something and just make a spitfire judgment. And I'm guilty of that too. Like, I was like, man, that's not that big of a deal. But just last year, the 15 of his team members were sending emails, and they claimed that they actually protested. They claimed that they wouldn't return as long as he was returning for the head coach. And due to his misogyny and mistreatment in the workplace, they said that he wasn't very considerate of the working environment, wasn't considerate how much they were working, what they wanted to do, you know. And so, I don't know, man. It just doesn't look good. And it looks like he was like authoritarian. You know, so one just forcing his authority upon everybody, man. That's not right, man. So, and guess what? He still coached. He still coached at the World Cup. You know, granted, they did a good job. You can't argue with results. But some human dignity and human decency should trump any type of trophy or any type of award. So that was and it seemingly unresolved, right? So, you know, and then you have this to compile the issue with not only the head coach, who the women apparently the majority of the team did not want, they did not support. But, you know, you work with what you got. Then you have the president going and doing this. So it just compounds the issue and piles on. So it's not a good look at Spain right now. You feel me? So the Spaniards looking bad, but they did win the World Cup, you know. But shout out to the women and everybody, not just women, but the other people, you know, the male counterparts that were acting professionally and putting on for the Spaniards, man. But yeah, man, shout out to them for winning the World Cup, first time in history, and all that good stuff, man. So yeah, let's see if we can get Dr. TC on the call. I'll be right back. Give me a second. But yeah, so that was it for the World Cup, man. It's seemingly unresolved with them, and so I don't know how they're gonna do moving forward. Like I said, the results is gonna be. Sometimes it's hard to argue with results, but results aren't everything, man. Trophies aren't everything, man. You want to make sure that you are looking out for the welfare of the players and everybody involved in that circle. You know what I'm saying? So. But yeah, man. So, and once again, too, let's go back to the United States women's national team as well. They still getting pressures. Like, people want to kick them while they're down. And, you know, I'm not even going to give them any light. But just know that people are still talking about how they didn't perform well and all they underperformed former players, too. Sometimes it kind of seems, you know, jealous ones still envy. But we ain't going to go there. We're not going to show any light on them. But we will. Oh, let's see if we get Dr. TC in here right now, man. I want to segue in. Let's see if we can get him in.
Go ahead.
Say it again.
I got you. I think I got you.
All right, there you go. Let's get it, man. So what's popping with you, bro?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing good, man. We were on the 6 degrees of separation. I mean, I keep saying that. 6 degrees between us, man. So for those of you who are familiar with the, I don't want to explain it every time, but, you know, we just talk about 6 topics, 6 degrees between us, because both of us have 6 degrees between us, our bachelor's, master's, and PhD in engineering, respectively. I'm in sustainable energy. Him is in robotics. So we were just talking about the World Cup in the finals with Spain winning the first one. So now we go take that one, man. Those are some of the best players in the world, you know, in their respective sport. And I just want to use that to segue into basketball, man. Unless you had something you want to add to the Women's Cup, you know, I want to congratulate this.
I know, man. Go ahead. We can keep it moving.
Okay. So yeah, man. So
congratulations to the ladies of Spain, though. I will say that absolutely.
Facts.
They went through a lot to get that victory.
Went through a lot, man. Had a lot of controversy with it, man. And like I said, shout out to the player. I do not remember her name right now, but she found out the news that she lost her father hours after they, you know, raised the trophy. So that's kind of tough, man, among some other things. But yeah, so
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. What people go through, man. They work so hard, man. Huh?
So I did not know that, man. Condolences to her.
Yeah, our condolences for sure, man. And speaking of these top players, man, you know, all also happened this weekend while Steph Curry was talking to Gilbert Arenas. You know, he's another top player in his respective sport. He was asked who's the best point guard, and to which he responded. He said, well, he asked him if he thinks he's the best point guard, and he said, yeah. He said, yeah, you got to talk about me. And he said, who else? He said himself and Magic. And, you know, I tend to agree with him. However, I think there's other people that could be considered. But I like that attitude because this is what he's currently doing. If you're not trying to be the best, then what are you doing? And especially if you have the hardware to reflect that and the accolades to reflect that, accomplishments to reflect that, then, you know what I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with him being confident. I think that was a great answer. You know, I don't even think, I'm glad he put Magic in there, but I don't think he had to put Magic in there, you know, but what do you think about that?
A lot of people say that. So, I mean, who else you got if you're going to say that? I mean, I think Steph one of the best. I don't know if I would say
one of the best too.
He is the best. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think he's the best.
That's a tough way to look
I didn't answer that. I disagree with him. But I think,
clearly you disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with him.
It is?
But I don't think he had to say Magic. You know, I respect him as a competitor. I don't think he had to even mention anybody else because I think he's good enough to where you can make a strong, convincing debate. But I think it's Magic. But I do think that you have to also, you know, as a fan, as an observer, I think I have to also consider Isaiah Thomas. I don't think he gets enough credit. It's like people, he gets credit now, but I don't think he gets enough. I think that, you know, he's easily forgotten. I'm talking about Zeke too, but from the Detroit Pistons. I know you know, but just for those of you out there, I'm not talking about the new age Isaiah Thomas, who was a good player too, but I'm talking about Isaiah Thomas, who was a leader of the Detroit Pistons, the late 80s.
Right, the bad boy
Pistons, right, with Bill Laimbeer and Joe Dumars and all of them and the rest of the gang. But yeah, I think.
I guess with that, I would say, I mean, I understand those choices. Those are some of the greats. But it's to me, what are you looking for in a point guard? I guess. And do you think
that's true?
The rings help validate them at the position?
And I was gonna say too, I think John Stockton. I know he doesn't have the hardware.
I was gonna say, you know, John got to give John Stockton some love.
Yeah, he's actually my favorite.
John Stockton, even a Jason Kidd was, you know,
Jason Kidd for sure.
I would put him at some of the top point guards. But what are you looking for? I think is the question, because if you're just looking for impact,
yeah,
I think Steph is probably over everybody, maybe except Magic, and he giving Magic a run for his money too.
Right, I agree with that, man. And so I started to do my little research on it, man, and I was looking at the top players by position. And conveniently, I stumbled upon a little source by Fadeaway World. They compiled a list where they group the best players by position, and they split it into 15 different categories. So point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. And they went through it. And I think the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward is pretty. You could probably guess who you think was the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward best. Who was considered the best? They broke it into 15 categories. They had rebounding categories.
You said 15 categories?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you an example. Yeah, so they had, like, let's say for point guard, they had who's the best scorer, the best facilitator. They might say, I think they said playmaking specifically, but I consider that facilitator. But they said playmaking, 3-point shooting, scoring, defense, rebounding. I can't remember all 15 of them, but those are some of the versatility, athleticism. Those are the categories that I thought it was pretty dope.
So they broke them down like 2K stats, I guess.
Kinda, yeah,
best
kinda.
ranking in every category.
Yeah. So I thought it was a pretty cool compilation. Like, who do you think was a point guard, shooting guard, and small forward? I'm gonna ask you that.
As far as overall,
what they think? Yeah, not what you think, but what they think.
I probably would say Magic, Jordan, and LeBron.
Exactly. So that was pretty self-explanatory. Now here is where I had a freaking exception, bro. So they let me say, bro. So they had the top power forwards. Now I couldn't find the one on the centers. I'm assuming that they didn't get there yet. Maybe they just didn't, release that. But bro, they had the top power forwards, and they came out with Tim Duncan. I'm okay with that. Tim Duncan was the best power forward. I'm cool with that.
You gotta give Timmy some love.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. However, they had all those different categories. They didn't have Kevin Garnett on one category, bro. They had Giannis, cool.
He was there. Okay.
No, go ahead. Oh, they had Giannis. I'm cool with that. Of course, they had Tim Duncan, obviously, because he was the one that they finalized as the best. They had freaking. They had Chuck. They had Charles Barkley. They had Karl Malone. Bro, they had Draymond Green up there, bro. And they did not have. They had Dirk. They had Draymond, bro. You can't have fucking Draymond and not have Kevin Garnett. I don't even if it's right. Even if it's right, bro. And to be fair, they had Draymond for playmaking, and they had Draymond for.
Okay, I was about to say what they had Draymond for.
And I believe they had him for defense. I think playmaking and defense. But how you not have KG? I don't give a damn, bro. You can't have Draymond, bro. Let me tell you about the shooting guard, nigga. They had. For a shooting guard, they ended up with Jordan, but they had Harden on the list, and they did not have Wade on there. Wade wasn't the leader of one category. I said, nah, bro. I gotta take exception to this, bro. Even if you gotta make, bro. Even if you gotta make something up.
Categories.
Even if you gotta make something up, bro. Come on, dog.
So let me.
They had Anthony Davis and not KG on there, bro.
Find a category.
Bro, they had ball handling.
Find a category to put my dog in.
Bro, they got to find something. You got to come on, bro. Bro, they had ball handling. They had Anthony Davis for ball handling for power forwards, and they didn't have. And bro, it's like they found something to put Anthony Davis for. Draymond, come on, bro. I don't know,
Anthony Davis for ball handling.
Yeah, but I'm cool with. I'm cool with that. For power forward, I can't really. I feel like you could put quite a few there. I feel like you could argue Kevin Garnett up there too, but. It's just, bro, you got to find something to put Kevin Garnett, bro. I'm sorry, bro. They be doing my boy dirty, bro. That. You got to find something, bro. So
they can't be doing Wade County like that.
Wade County too. So let me ask you something real quick. I believe on Fadeaway World, they had versatility for Giannis.
So who they had like the best finisher?
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. So best finisher, I want to look at. Don't quote me, but I believe best finisher they had Giannis. I remember they had athleticism, Giannis. I'm cool with athleticism. Versatility. They had Giannis. I was like, how's that not KG? Who's more versatile? Who's the more versatile point guard than KG? Maybe Anthony Davis?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe Anthony Davis? I don't know.
I wouldn't say Anthony Davis either because I
don't think so either.
KG had a way better block game than Anthony Davis.
Facts.
And he still had a jump shot.
Facts.
So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I don't know how they didn't have.
I would definitely say he's the most versatile.
I agree.
Of all the power forwards, if anything.
I agree. So
I'm trying to think what other like you said, I haven't even seen it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of going off the top of my head. I would think what other category. It's plenty categories, especially defensive.
Bro, I got you. Let me pull it up.
Over Draymond, I would say defensive. Right, but Draymond could guard on the perimeter, but I don't think he was as good as KG.
I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. Don't even worry about it. I got you. Fadeaway world.
I'm gonna tell you right.
I said, nah, bruh. I said, nah, you can't have. You got to figure out something to put KG on, bro. That's disrespectful, dog. So I'm gonna tell you the 15. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you precisely the 15 categories. Okay, so they, like I said, they ended up with Tim Duncan being the best. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. So they got scoring. They got scoring. Karl Malone. I believe he's a leader. Or he's like the third all-time leading scorer, right? I don't know. He's up there. I don't know if he's third.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I think he's number 1 for power forwards for sure. So I'm cool with scoring. Playmaking, Draymond Green.
He was number 2 for a long time. Yeah,
number 2 for a long time, right? So playmaking, Draymond Green. Which I'm even okay with that because I'm okay with that. I think that like we already discussed this in the past episode. I think that Steph Curry's leadership is very undervalued or underappreciated. Maybe not within the organization, but definitely from the outside because they always say that Draymond Green is, you know, the general on the court and all this stuff. Which I still think. Yeah. So I think he's getting a lot of credit that maybe I don't know that I ain't gonna say he doesn't deserve it, but I think Steph Curry is, you know, taking a backseat on a lot of stuff where he should be at the forefront. Rebounding, Dennis Rodman, of course. 3-point shooting.
I would say that. But
3-point shooting, Dirk.
Dirk, okay.
Mid-range shooting, Dirk. Passing, passing, Draymond. Which I feel like passing and playmaking are kind of, you know, they're cutting it close, but okay. As being the same.
I'm going to go through my head through all these players. It's a lot of players, man.
Bro, passing, Draymond, passing. What about Chris Webber in Sacramento?
Yeah, that's like I'm thinking like a C West. Man,
Come on, bro. C West, bro. You want me to keep going? Defense. Okay, defense was Dennis Rodman.
Keep on. Yeah, keep on.
Okay, defense, Dennis Rodman. Finishing, Tim Duncan.
I think KG should win that over Dennis Rodman.
Finishing, Tim Duncan.
I think.
Athleticism, Giannis. Clutch.
But see, that's another one. I give KG a run for his money with that too.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with Giannis being on athleticism. Okay? I do, but I think Giannis is. I mean, I think KG is definitely.
I think he's a faster player,
right?
But I don't know if it's athleticism. I don't know if that's the right word for it.
True.
But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, clutch, Dirk.
Ooh. Hey, now you gonna put Dirk over Timmy D?
Bro, that's what I don't get. Yo, granted, I think you talk about like final shots and inconsequential games.
I'm talking about Timmy D, but they put that thing in his hands all the time at the end of the clock.
Right? How does Tim Duncan not get that?
That's crazy.
All right. Okay. Efficiency, Anthony Davis. Now I'm not a straight numbers guy, so I didn't really look at the. You know what I'm saying? I know they doing the analytics and all that.
I don't really know what that word. I don't know what that word means in the basketball context.
Right. So they, and of course they talk about the PER.
You're talking about shooting percentage.
Right. Exactly.
Now, other than shooting percentage, I don't really get all that.
Right. And then let me see. Let me scroll down a little bit. Let me give you the last one. Leadership, Tim Duncan. That's not the last one. I apologize.
Okay.
Sorry. Leadership, Tim Duncan, which I'm cool with, but I feel like that could go to KG as well.
I think I can go to Kevin Garnett over Tim Duncan, but go ahead.
Versatility, Giannis. I think that's KG again.
I think that's KG.
That ball handling, Anthony Davis. I feel like that could be Giannis because to me he handles the ball more than Anthony Davis. But what do I know?
Yeah.
I don't know if they talking about a dribble package or what they talking about.
Yeah, basketball changes so much.
Right. So yeah. So they got ball handling Anthony Davis, and that was the last one. No KG at all. Okay. I had about me and you between us. We had about 3-4 things.
Like that's the type of list I have to go back and really sit down. You know what I'm saying, and chart all of them because I think they're missing a lot of players.
You feel me?
Like if you're gonna just do statistics like that, like I don't even know if it could just be the big names like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah. And I'm trying to decipher now between the power forward and the center is hard enough.
That's true. Yeah, especially these days. You're right.
Trying to figure out and then the small forward.
That's true.
Yeah, half the time Kevin Durant on the court, he playing the 4 right now.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. So I just
Yeah,
don't
it's
understand how
crazy.
you cannot have. So who I think we can all agree, pretty much, Tim Duncan is your number one power forward, or who you got for your number one of all time?
Yeah, I think most basketball fans would agree.
Okay, who's number
They
two?
like Tim Duncan game or not, he the best power forward ever.
Right, who's your number two?
My number 2 power forward.
Yeah.
Ooh.
My boy Sigma in the chat said Timmy the best
That's
of all
why-
time. I agree. He concurs.
That's why that's where I start getting pulled, because I would probably say Kevin Garnett is my
Thank you,
power forward.
bro.
Me.
Even if you say KG was number two,
Mm.
I'm sorry. Even if you say KG was number 3, say Giannis is number 2.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
trying to.
how can you not have one of the top 3 players as a leader in any of those categories? How
Yeah,
can you not
that's
mention Kevin
crazy.
Garnett? You know, even if you
I
have
would-
Giannis number 2, even you know what I'm saying? Even if you have Giannis number 1, Timmy number 2, and KG number 3, there's no way KG's you're gonna name 3 power forwards better than KG. There's no way.
He
There's no
shouldn't
way.
be in your top 3, right? In some way, shape, or form.
You feel me? But you got Draymond Green on the list for leading 2 categories. you need to tweak your categories, cuzzy. That's crazy, bro.
I mean, what would you put? Where would you put Malone? Would you put Malone in your top 5?
That's a good question. Bro, you know what's crazy? Did I lie? Did we say Charles Barkley? I don't think we said Chuck.
That's why I just said top 5. That's why.
No, but I'm talking about that
We need
list
to
though.
Chuck-
The list
Chuck in
didn't
there.
have Chuck. I remember I said I think they had Chuck, but they did not have Chuck. They didn't even have Chuck on
in
there.
at all either.
That's crazy, bro. How
That's
can you,
crazy.
ball handling? How's that not Chuck? Chuck used to run the offense of the Sixers.
He might have been a better playmaker than Draymond.
Facts. Facts on the Sixers and on the Suns. Come on, bro. They wild. But
Yeah.
But top 5. Let me get to your question. Karl Malone. I think so, because in no particular order besides Tim Duncan being number 1. In no particular order for the rest. I think I'm pretty comfortable having KG number 2 still. But my top 5 off the top of my head would probably be Timmy number 1. Then no particular order. Giannis, KG. That's tough, man. That's tough, cause that's tough, cause Chuck and Dirk and Karl Malone, those are the ones that'd be. But that's 6. That's tough. Oh man,
Chuck, Dirk, Karl Malone. Okay, so,
that's tough, bro. That's
so what
tough.
you gonna do? Somebody got to sit the bench, man. Somebody got to sit the bench.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm sorry, Karl Malone, but I gotta put Karl Malone number 6. That's tough.
You got to
That's
put
tough.
Chuck in there.
Yeah, I got put Chuck and Dirk in there. I got to put Chuck and Dirk. Yeah,
So
that's
you-
tough.
so-
Who you got?
You would say Chuck the best power forward without a ring, clearly.
Without a ring, yes. That's tough to say because Karl Malone, we know he's been to 2 finals. I think Chuck been to 1, right? Chuck's been to 1 finals.
Yeah.
And then Karl Malone's been to 2. And I think Karl Malone has how many MVPs? I think he has 1 or 2.
But he went the one with he only went the one with Utah, right?
No, he went to 2. Remember they played the Bulls twice.
Okay.
And then the Phoenix
Back to
played.
back.
Yep, and Chuck also played the Bulls in Phoenix. That was his only time. But I want to say Karl Malone has two MVPs and Chuck has 1. But I'm still taking Chuck. Yeah, I'm still taking Chuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Chuck is my best power forward without a ring.
Okay. All right. I go with that. I rock with those.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of another name to slide in there, but I can't really think of one.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
All the other real good big men were all centers to me.
Yeah. And like you were mentioning earlier, it's tough to do. You know what I'm saying? They split in hair sometimes with the 4 and the 5, and you know what I'm saying. But I just don't feel comfortable with the 15 categories. You don't name Chuck or KG.
Chuck
But you got Draymond
or
twice.
KG.
Come on, and you got Anthony Davis who barely. Anthony Davis
Hey,
only played a
what?
handful of games more than I played in the NBA. And I'm not even an NBA player. That's crazy.
Oh, man. That's messed up, man.
That's crazy, bro.
But listen, Draymond got the hardware, and that boy he do got stats. I wonder what he had on the all-time assist list. That's what I would like.
Yeah,
to see.
that's true. That's true. So so to be fair, and all jokes aside, and
So let me give him some of his, you know what I'm saying? Give him his flowers. The boy
Right.
got game. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right. I'm glad you said that because I do want to make it clear that I'm not saying that Draymond's not a good player. I'm not saying that he's not deserving to be on the head of a category. But if you're going to have Draymond on the head of a category, I don't feel like how can you not have Chuck for something? You know what I'm saying? How can you not have KG for something? That just doesn't sit right with me. I'm sorry, Draymond is nowhere near the the effectiveness of Chuck or KG. Draymond is great, but to me, Draymond is a great piece. Chuck, that's his team. You know what I'm saying? KG, those are their teams.
He's number 2 right now. He's number 2.
Number 2?
He is
okay.
number 2.
Okay. So I know that they probably took statistics heavily into account. And I'm not saying Draymond's a great player, Hall of Fame player, but I just
absolutely. Gotta give him some love. But I definitely think you gotta find a way to get KG in there.
Come on, bro.
And I damn sure think you gotta get Chuck in there. I mean, that's the big dogs. You know what I'm saying? That is kind of that's kind of your top 5, 10 players. You got to get them in there somewhere, man.
Even with Wade, how Wade not make the now? Granted, I know Wade is a little tougher because athleticism. I'm not. Wade is tougher, right? With the shooting guard.
Yeah, I would say he's tougher, but I definitely would put him as best finisher. Absolutely,
bro. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, maybe best finisher.
What, you guard?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, maybe best finisher, but then that is still tough with. With Kobe and, rest in peace, King Kobe and, and Mr. MJ himself, Mr. Ernest. It's tough.
Yeah, I think they will. I don't think it's actually even close when it comes to finishing. I don't think that's close. I think just like they're finishing, I think MJ got some spectacular plays, but like finishing on a consistent basis, like in that paint, that's what Wade's game was.
That's true.
MJ and Kobe at least had like a really consistent ass jump shot.
That's a fact.
Wade didn't. His jump shot was kind of clutch, but it wasn't like, every time you give it to him,
right?
They hit that jump shot every time.
Right.
But D Wade played the game in the air around the rim.
Yeah,
that's how I look.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like 2K. He made the slasher archetype. I feel like he made the slasher archetype. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, slashing and flashing, man. So. Exactly. Shout out to Wade for making the Hall of Fame recently as well, man. And
one time for that, Wade County,
represented. Paul Gasol, Dirk as well, and some other Tony Parker, Coach Popovich, Becky Hammond, all
Parker, Pop,
right? Becky Hammond.
Mm-hmm. Gotta get somebody else made it too. It was another woman made it too. Gotta give a shout out to, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Yep. But yeah. One time for the Hall of Fame class. That was a hell of a class too,
man. But yeah, I'm interested to see when they release the centers because, I think that's going to be a nice controversial one too, man. But shout out to Fadeaway World. That's why it's opinion and barbershop talk. It's always nice to talk about these hypotheticals and all these battles that we won't see in actuality. We just dream about them and stuff. But it always sparks interesting conversation. Right. But we can still see some of these greats potentially battle in that square circle, man, the realm of boxing, man. So that brings us over to our next topic, man. Our next topic, which is Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson, man. Gervonta Davis.
Here we go.
So apparently
they trying to stir it up.
Bro. So Stevenson, I feel like Stevenson's been calling out everybody except Bug, their relationship. But Gervonta Davis seems like to kind of respond and say that he'll fight Stevenson, but to me it didn't seem that convincing. But Gervonta has been more keen on getting Bud, bro. I feel like they can fight, but do they need to fight? And is it justified? I don't think it's justified for Tank to call out Bud. But on the flip side, I need to see Gervonta versus Shakur. But is it really justified? What do you think? What do you think about that?
I think it's absolutely. First of all, just like Bud Crawford said, you know what I'm saying? He said it the best. Everybody gonna call him out right now. Facts. You know what I mean? So you just gotta accept and expect that. Like he can respond to anybody, but he ain't finna fight. He got no reason to fight Gervonta Davis.
No reason. I agree.
At all. First of all, that's like out his weight. I mean, it ain't that far out of his weight class, but it's out of his weight class.
Right.
No reason to make that fight, really. I mean, except it to be, I guess it'd be a pretty big fight.
Yeah.
But I think it's a mismatch at this point. It's not even really close. Just because of the size difference and the fighting style, it's just. I
agree.
I don't think that's something Gervonta Davis can handle right now. Maybe in a couple years, I don't know. Get a little bit more of his man body, as they say. He just.
What's he? What? 20? I think he's
not really big enough, right? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I think he's 28, and then Bud is what, 35? I think Bud turns 36 this year, and then Gervonta Davis is 28. So, I think.
Okay.
I know Bud is 35 and going on 36. I know Tank is 28. Sorry. I think I agree with what you said. The only caveat is that the only thing I would add to that, not the caveat, I would add to that is that, in my opinion, that so the caveat to that is that while Bud shouldn't fight Tank, I kind of feel like Tank don't need to fight Shakur. I want it. I think they need. So not that they don't need to. I don't think it's justified. I think he should fight him, but in my opinion, Haney and Shakur should fight for the rights to fight Tank. In my opinion, I feel like Tank's resume and where he's at right now, as far as a household name, he's more known. Shakur Stevenson, as much as I like him, as spectacular as he looks, he has not fought anybody, bro. You know what I'm saying? And Haney just fought somebody by fighting Lomachenko and beating him, and even that was controversial. You see what I'm saying? So it's I feel like Shakur, Haney, and Lomachenko, they need to figure out something to see who fights Tank, in my opinion. So I feel like it makes sense that Tank calls out Bud. It doesn't. I agree with you 1,000%. It don't make sense for Bud to even pay attention to Tank, but it makes sense for Tank to call out Bud because I don't think Shakur Stevens is worth the risk. As far as who knows, you know what I'm saying? As far as the money and the ability to sell the fight, I feel like Tank is doing the right business thing to call out Bud, because I don't think there's anybody
he's doing the best thing for him by calling out Bud, just like anybody right now should call out the champ.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's stepping stones to it. Right. And I think, I agree with you on the Shakur Stevenson Devin Haney thing. I think they definitely should fight. That's what I think the next fight should be. Devin Haney about to fight somebody else. I can't.
Yeah, he's scary right now. Yeah, he's scared. He pulling the old Anthony Joshua.
Right. So he been I would say being protected a little bit. Right. But I think he should be fighting Shakur Stevenson next. Yeah. But I'm trying to figure out, well, if that's the case, then who does Tank fight?
Yeah,
does he have to go up and fight one of the 147s who aren't the champ right now just to prove himself at that weight class?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know who he should fight, be honest.
Who does he fight right now? Because there's really, who else is there at 140 for him to really fight outside of maybe Shakur Stevenson?
Yeah, 140 or 135. I don't know who else. I agree with you. Mm-hmm.
Or Devin Haney. I
don't think Devin Haney want that pressure. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't think he want that pressure either. But that will be the best fight, I think.
I agree. Especially with him coming out Lomachenko. Yeah.
As far as continuing to move up the ladder, I would think that'd be the best fight for him. I'm trying to think who's a good fight for Tank at 147 right now though. Since he say he won Crawford, who could he fight? I mean, Sean Porter type of fighter would be a good type of fight, I think.
Boots?
Yeah, you can say Boots. Okay,
I don't know. But even then, that's not the money. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you're going to fight Boots, then you might as well fight Shakur. Because I feel like
true enough. But fighting Boots,
at least if you lose, you can say he was a bigger dude. That's the only thing I can say.
That's what I was going to say. Boots is naturally bigger than Shakur,
right? Bigger than both of them.
Yeah. So exactly. So that would be his claim to 147 to say he could fight Terence.
Right.
Is that he go in there and handle Boots? You know what I'm saying? Put them paws on. You know he gonna hit you at one of them hooks and
right. Yeah,
like I said before, between last time we talked, 140 to 154 is kind of like that's every man ball game, really. Mm-hmm. Like that's street fights.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
That's every man ball game. So
yeah,
but he even on the smaller side of 140. That's what I mean.
That's a fact. Yeah, you're right.
He's not like a big 140, at least not stature wise. He's stocky, but he can barely get to him. So
right.
I think Boots might be a good fight if you want to go prove himself. That's somebody up and coming enough. He got a big enough name, I would think.
Yeah.
But he got to fight somebody soon. He can't stay out that ring too long, man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know you've been having some troubles too with the legal issues too. So
he got his legal. That should be over soon. These boys need to stop taking that probation, man. Facts. They need to stop taking that probation, man.
Facts, man.
Figure out a way to get some sentence reduced and just to go do your time. That probation is set up. Stop that shit.
Yep. So I think we both agree that it's a kind of in an odd place right now. I know that Tank is looking for Bud, Bud looking for Charlo. He already said he don't want to fight Canelo, but then I heard him flirting with the Canelo possibility too. And so
Bud trying to fight Canelo. I don't want him to do that.
No, he's not. He's not. He said he's not trying to fight Canelo. But he has been flirting with it. He been playing around with it. But nah, he's been saying that he don't want to fight Canelo. But he just wants Charlo. And I wonder, like, there's just a lot of hypothetical fights out there, man. And but they do have a real fight that's coming out at the end of September, and that's Charlo, Jermell Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez. What do you think of that?
I know, man.
Early predictions. Who you got on that?
I'm a Canelo fan, man. I don't see. I think when he bring it, he tough to beat. I think. I said all the time. I think his best test was when he fought Floyd Mayweather at such a young age. That shit changed. I think that changed him in the ring. Like he hard to beat now. I think he's really hard to beat when he bring it. Like I think last couple fights, he just didn't really look like himself. So if he looked like that, he might get his ass knocked out. But
right,
I got faith in those sentiment. You know what I'm saying? I like his fight, definitely.
So old Canelo Alvarez sentiment, man. I have faith in it too, but there was a little thing that he said during the interview with the Breakfast Club. He was like, he doesn't really like boxing, and
Charlo.
No, Canelo was saying that. Canelo was saying that he don't like boxing.
Yeah. When he was doing the interview about Charlo, my bad.
Yeah, about Charlo, right? In regards to Charlo in the Breakfast Club interview, and I feel like people are looking a little too deep into it. Like I do think that that's a little alarming because you have a big title fight coming up. But I would say this too, like there's a lot of stuff that people do that they might not necessarily like. However, I do think it's not good because when you like something and you're doing it, it gives you that extra oomph. You know what I'm saying? Instead of running that 10 miles, you might do 10 and a half or you might do 11 because you like it and you love it. So I don't think it's a good sign, but I don't think it's necessarily too negative to where there's no telling how long he felt that way. You know what I'm saying? There's no telling how long he felt that way. And just because he doesn't necessarily like it doesn't mean that he doesn't find it necessary. And when somebody finds something necessary or it means to an end, hey, that's a lot of motivation right there. You know what I'm saying? He was talking about, because I know he mentioned also that his son wants to do it, but he was like, to his son, he wants to see in a couple years you get hit in the face and see if you still want to do boxing. So I think he could be looking at it as far as like maybe like a life and a health standpoint, or like, you know what I'm saying, keeping all your faculties about you standpoint, a well-being standpoint. Not necessarily that he doesn't love the game like that, but he's just not infatuated to the point where it's boxing or nothing else. Like maybe he's just saying that like he's embracing other aspects and avenues of life. So I don't think it's necessarily bad. Oh, go ahead. I want to know what you think.
I was about to say I agree with that, but I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think people got a bad perception about things like that. Like I don't think there has to be like this burning passion to be damn near perfect at something. You know what I mean? Like I think there's a lot of people who their actual motivation is the fact that whatever they're doing, they're trying to be perfect at it. Like they're going to still do the best. They may not be completely passionate about doing any damn thing, but living life. Right. You know what I mean? Like everybody doesn't have a job in this world that's going to be their passion. Like some people just like to be perfectionists.
Right.
And I think a lot of people read a little bit too much like into stuff like oh, it's a fight game, you gotta love to fight. Like I don't really believe people have to love to get hit to want to dominate you when they're fighting you.
Exactly. Exactly.
If they want to kick your ass, that doesn't mean I actually like to fight. But I would do everything to make sure you can't beat me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's I think is another type of motivation for fighters. Like it's people who love it could be any job really. I think I know professional athletes that do other stuff.
Right.
Some of them love to hoop all the time. Some of them just love to be great at their job. You know what I mean? Like not necessarily love hooping, but that's what they're doing. But you take them out fishing, they love to fish.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? They love to do art, love to do other shit, love to buy real estate, whatever the case may be. So I don't actually think that's really alarming to me at all. I feel like as long as he locked in, you know what I mean? He ain't new to the game.
Exactly.
Like you said, he got kids now. I don't know if I would want my jit to do that. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the amount of money that he done made. Like,
exactly
the same way it used to be. Like,
right.
So I don't buy into it too much at all.
Yeah.
Like to me, the fact that he on the damn Breakfast Club instead of training is a big deal. The guy,
Right.
what he said about his motivation.
Right. And I think so, because only why I think it's something to talk about. You know, of course, you know, when everything's slow, people want to harp on things and focus on certain things, and, you know, to make a bigger deal of what it is. But I will say though that if, let's say, Jermell Charlo, who's about to fight his opposition, if he's all about boxing, he likes it, he loves it, he sees it as a necessary means to an end, all the things that Canelo does, in addition to that, he also loves it and likes it, then I do think that, you know, common sense will kind of lean towards that person. However, in this particular outfit, Canelo is a more seasoned fighter, like you already mentioned. He's been through more wars. He's been fighting more notable fighters. He moved up. He moved down. He went in between. You know what I'm saying? He has the knowledge and the experience. So I think only part that kind of worries me is that I remember when Oscar De La Hoya said that Canelo wasn't focused on boxing. You know, now granted, you know, we know Oscar he seems like he's a control freak as well. You know, he likes to make sure that he has all his fighters in the stable doing what he wants. But at the same time, there might be a little bit of truth to that as well. So I remember Oscar De La Hoya said that a little while ago before they did their split. So I don't know. I mean, maybe he was hinting towards that, you know, because Canelo does have other business ventures. But like you said, I mean, shoot, I wasn't really big on engineering. I still got my PhD in it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no easier, you know. So, but I still knew that's what I want to do, you know. But I knew I also wanted to box. I also wanted to make music, and I also wanted to do other things. But I was still able to focus enough on engineering to where I got to the epitome as far as scholastically goes, you know, academia goes. I got to the epitome of that, and so did you. So that doesn't mean that boxing or whatever you're doing has to be, you know, you have to be, I don't know how to say it. You don't have to be, everything is for that except that, and, you know, ignore everything else to be good at it. Like you said, you just got to kick Jermell Charlo's ass. You know what I'm saying? He might not want to be the best ever anymore, but, you know, so I don't know. I think you made a good point.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know if you have to necessarily love something to still want to be the best at it because you do it. That's kind of what I mean. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do think he still want to be the best at it. Honestly, I don't think anything has changed. I think he would admit his last two fights didn't go the way that he wanted them to. And I think that's what a lot of people piggybacking off of that also. You know what I mean? The fact that his last couple fights he hasn't really performed.
Yeah, but one of his last couple fights he
was expected.
Right, but he moved up too against.
Exactly. They didn't go the way that he expected, but he might have also bit off a little more than he can chew as far as dominating. He maybe can still win the fight,
right? But
he may not be able to, you know, create the separation for the judges the way he used to at that size. But I agree. You know, I think, you know, passion for stuff helps. I definitely think it's a big part. But I also believe, I don't care how passionate you are about something. If your ass is lazy, you be passionate about it all day. You sit and think about it, compared to getting your ass up and actually doing something with it. So it's still a drive of, you know, getting shit done, making sure you put in the work for what you want to get out of it. That's I think the most important thing. But whatever you do, because I think another thing we can't lose is people being their absolute best with shit that they don't like to do. Like, it can't be only that you only give your all with everything that you like. Like, I think that's a terrible fucking way to think.
Exactly.
And a lot of people, new generation and old generation, seem to have that thought. Like, I only do it if I like it.
Exactly.
Like, that's to me is not really the way it should be. Some shit you just gotta do, like getting ready to kick some ass because everybody watching.
I don't know. I agree with the majority of what you said. Just, I don't know. I'm not sure if you can not necessarily have a like for something and still want to be the best. I think you still want to win, but like when I'm talking about the best now, I'm talking about like historically, like, you know what I'm saying, like the best ever. I don't know if I was listening to Teddy Atlas the other day. Teddy Atlas was like, he always felt like Canelo was overrated. He thinks he's a great fighter, but he said he don't think he's even close to being the best Mexican fighter. And that, initially I disagreed. But then I was like, you know, he might have a little point. You know, he might have a good point. And he kind of hinted on the passion aspect as well. So I don't know how much
But this, okay, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm done. I'm wrapping up. I was just gonna say that I don't know how much of him wanting to be the best, or the fact that he wants to live up to expectations. I think those are two different things. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I never talked to Canelo, personally, and I never really heard him hint on it. I think that he's one of the best Mexico. I think he's one of the best fighters, period. But especially one of the best fighters out of Mexico. But I don't think they. I'm not sure. I don't know if he wants to be the best ever, or people just bestowed that upon him, and he likes it, or he does it for whatever reason he does it. And of course, when you're doing something, you don't want to, especially boxing, you don't want to lose, you don't want to get beat up. So you're kind of what you were saying, a testament to what you're saying. You still want to beat the person in front of you, but I'm not sure if he necessarily wants to be the best ever. I think he likes challenging himself, and I think he likes, but I don't know how much he wants to be the best. But anyway, at the end of the day, I don't think that's going to stop him from being motivated enough to fight Charlo. But we'll see. We'll see how he shows up.
Okay, so what's the on the counter argument? You believe that the most passionate person in the world about a topic wants to be the best at it?
Say that. Can you repeat that?
So you can pick any topic. The person in the world that is considered to be the most passionate wants to be the best at that. That's that's the counter argument.
I don't know per se, but I do think that the best usually has are usually up. They usually have the most passion. Now if you could measure that, I don't know if that always translates. You know what I'm saying? Because you could have passion and not be physically equipped, or mentally equipped, or spiritually equipped to do it, but you could possibly have more passion than somebody. But I think overall, generally speaking, I think that, just generally brush over something. I do think that to be the best at something, not just the best currently, I'm talking about the best of all time, I do think that you most likely have the most passion as well. Or it's up there, you know what I'm saying? It's up there with being the most passionate.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think to me that's kind of like that to me is like a major disagreement to me. I think a lot of the best of things sometimes come from people who aren't passionate about that shit at all. Like, that just happens to be what they may be good at, or just how something came out. Like, there are plenty of times where I guess you can say people's passion drive them to be the best at things, but I don't necessarily know that's always the case.
So give me an example of when you think somebody in any realm, whether it's academia.
Okay, so I just read. Okay, I just was just teaching a class. This is something I didn't know. I just learned in the class. The Sistine Chapel, right?
Yep.
Some people would consider that the best painting ever, right? Some people,
right? Yeah.
Maybe not me or you, but some people say that, right?
Yeah.
Michelangelo wasn't a painter,
right?
He didn't even like painting. He was, I think, like an architect or like a stonemaker or something like that, and they didn't have enough jobs for him, and somebody just told him to paint the ceiling. Like, they just gave him an odd job.
Right.
And he created probably the most recognizable painting ever. And I think that's more about being like a perfectionist or something, or not just like a random passion. Like, you may be interested in it, but I don't think that's what it takes to be the best at it. I really don't. I don't know if
that's a good
Patrick Mahomes is the most interested in. I don't know if he's more interested in being a quarterback than Peyton Manning. Like, I don't. Like, I would think Peyton Manning is the most interested in being the damn quarterback of an NFL team ever. Like, he seems like he was all football. And I think Tom Brady was better than him. Like, I don't think Tom Brady was as interested.
Well, so I'm not.
If I had to just draw from two people who I can just view from the outside looking in. Right.
So I think those are good examples. But I'm not saying that because you have the most passion, you will be the best. But I'm saying that. So, for example, with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, I wouldn't bet that. I can't speak on Patrick Mahomes. I don't really watch football like that anymore. But back when I did, I wouldn't think that Tom Brady. I'm sorry. I don't think that Peyton Manning's passion is too much more than Tom Brady's. Now, I know it's kind of easy to say that because Peyton Manning's known for what? Studying the film, calling audibles, all this stuff.
Okay.
I wouldn't, in my opinion, personal opinion, I agree that Tom Brady's better, but I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say that if Peyton Manning's passion is more, or about the same.
Okay,
or even
okay.
if it-
So
you know
I'll
what I'm
ask
saying?
you this. I'll go back to a conversation we had before. Who do you think is better, Jordan or Kobe?
Who do I think is better? I think Jordan is better.
You think Jordan is better?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think Kobe had more passion for basketball than Jordan?
I don't think he had more. I think he had more. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I'll be honest. I feel like it'll be easier for me to argue that he had more passion because of what we know transpired, especially with the baseball, how Jordan was raised. But I think it's more documented that Kobe had. I think his efforts were more documented than Jordan's as far as studying other players and doing stuff. But I don't know if he had more passion because, you know, there's stories about Jordan always wanting to be the best and his insane capacity and drive for always
right. So that kind of goes to my point.
Right.
It ain't even about passion for it. And with him, basketball was just what he chose and he happened to be extremely good at.
Right. So I agree with that part.
But his passion was for kicking people's ass and like everything. Right. It wasn't even really about basketball. It's just that's what he did.
Right, but with Kobe,
does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
Kobe is like obsessed.
Kobe is obsessive, but I think Kobe was obsessed with learning, like about particularly basketball. I think Jordan was his obsession was whatever he's doing, he's competing in. So I think that drive led because he was doing basketball. That drive led him to be passionate about being better than whoever it was. Now, I don't think that his capacity for studying somebody, or not even capacity, I should say his passion for studying somebody and learning this advantage or this advantage by the like specifics are better than are more known than Kobe's or more noted than Kobe's. But I think he was just gonna do whatever it was to be better. So I wouldn't say, so once again, like the Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, I wouldn't say that Jordan's and Kobe's passions were too far off. It might have been different focuses, but for the same goal. Now, but I think what you said with Michelangelo was very good because the only thing I would say with that is, like you said with him, his passion to be the best artist. I feel like you don't have to be the best to produce the best product or something like that. Like for example, let's say boxing, right? To give the best fight, you don't have to be the best boxer or even have a desire to be the best boxer. But like for example, rest in peace Arturo Gatti. Some of the best boxing matches they say, or excuse me, the most exciting matches were freaking Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti. Neither one of them are the best boxer. You know what I'm saying? And then would I say that they have a passion as much as Floyd? I would argue that maybe Arturo Gatti's passion, rest in peace, was as much as Floyd's, but he didn't have everything to put it together. But when you have that top passion and you have that top skill or top talent, or that talent is being cultivated by, you know, like Floyd's family or whatever, then I feel like I can't necessarily say that somebody has more of a passion to be better than boxing than Floyd does. But I feel like I feel more comfortable saying that maybe they have an equal passion. If that makes sense, I don't know if that, you know, I can't really say that. It'll be very hard for me to argue that somebody has more passion to be better than Floyd. But like I said, but the Michelangelo one, that was a good one because I don't know much about him, and he might have had the best painting. Now, does he have the best series of paintings? That's what I would ask. You know what I'm saying? What did he do? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like he might have produced the best painting or most recognized painting or the painting with most renown. But like you said, he didn't have the passion. Huh?
I agree with you.
I'm just not sure. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he would have made even more. Maybe he would have been an undisputed painter. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. If that makes sense.
I don't know.
But I do agree with you. I think that Michelangelo was a perfect example.
Yeah, it's a hard one to always quantify though, right? Passion is hard to quantify.
It's hard to quantify.
You can say what that means, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't really know what motivates people. Yeah. that's the tough thing to figure out anyway.
Yeah,
you know
but to stay on topic, I don't think, like you said, I don't think that's necessarily a red flag. I don't think it's a good thing, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. That's why I was like, I
don't think it's a great thing.
Yeah,
like it's not something to make something out of, but I don't think it's something like insignificant. Like if he just doesn't like boxing, that's, you know, one thing, but I don't think it's something you should judge too much to be like whether he will lose next fight or not.
Right, yeah, he's gonna lose next fight because he don't like boxing. Like I don't know about that. I agree with that. I think people are putting too much into it, but I don't know if it's inconsequential, like you said, insignificant.
I mean, SOG. I know at the end of his career, you know, he I ain't gonna say he didn't have a passion for boxing, but he was clearly knowing he was gonna let it go and still able to go, you know, motivate himself to perform and get, you know what I'm saying, get himself in shape for different fights.
That's a good example.
I don't know.
I think that's a good one because Andre Ward is, I think he's one of the greatest. Do I think he has the greatest passion? I don't know. But if he had the greatest passion,
I would say no. I think he just,
you would say no?
Handle his business. I don't
know
another way to say it.
I think that's a good point. But but my counter to that would be, you know, Andre Ward. The average boxing fan does not know Andre Ward. So when people think of the greatest boxers, you'll never hear Andre Ward. Like, I mean, well, let me not say never.
Sure,
but outside of boxing purists, you will not hear, or boxing enthusiasts, you will not hear Andre Ward's name mentioned when people think of the best boxers. Now, if he would have had that passion, maybe you would have. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But like, for example, I think Ali had a passion for it.
Okay.
I think, obviously, Floyd. I even think Roy Jones, to a certain extent, had a passion. Even if his passion wasn't necessarily boxing, it was to make his, you know, the stories, maybe it's to make his father happy or whatever. You know, maybe it's a pressure, and maybe he had a passion of making his, I don't know. But I think we heard about Roy Jones because there was something there that kept him going and kept him pushing. And even though throughout the loss, like, Andre Ward's undefeated. There's no reason why people shouldn't know Andre Ward.
I still don't understand why.
Right, I still don't understand it. But maybe because you said, like you said, maybe you're right. Maybe he hit that on there. Maybe he didn't have that. I'm just reaching in the dark. But maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's an intangible that, I don't know. That goes unaccounted for. Maybe it's that he didn't have that passion, and I don't know. I don't know if that's fair to say either, though. Like you said. So I agree with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. That's necessarily fair to say.
You know?
Yeah. So
I think because Andre Ward, if I could, you know, red couch the man from a distance, somebody I've never met outside of getting an autograph.
Right.
I would say he had a passion for fighting, but just not so much for the fight game.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he enjoyed the sport of boxing. I don't think he enjoyed everything that comes with it. So, but I don't know if that you can separate that as far as the passion. So maybe that's why he's not as known of a fighter, even though he, you know, deserved as much accolades as anybody when you talk about the best ever.
Yeah, that's a good point because, yeah, I mean, it could be opponents, it could be charisma, it could be it could be a lot of things, which I would think of maybe charisma a little more, or maybe opponents. I don't know.
Could be fight style, you know, different
style,
things. You might just be a brawler. Like,
that's a good. I don't know, man. Because I don't know how to measure. Like you said, you know, it's hard to quantify, so you can't really measure somebody's passion. But if someone says that they don't like it openly, then of course you get to question things. But I do agree with you when you said that it's not all about passion, and I don't think to be the best. Now I'm kind of contradicting myself. I do think to be the best you have to have passion, the best of all time. You know what I'm saying? I don't think like for example, okay, like who would you think had more passion for basketball? I think it's gonna be a hard one. I'm interested with what you think. Who do you think had more passion for basketball, Shaq or Dwight Howard?
Ooh.
Considering everything you know from the Kobe stories about him being frustrated with Shaq for the lack of practice, from the stories of Kobe again being frustrated with Dwight Howard for taking it seriously, from Dwight Howard's extracurricular activities, from, you know, everything.
Ooh, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough.
Yeah, that's tough. So yeah, I think
who had more passion out of those two?
Yeah, who had more passion? We know who was better, but who had more passion? I don't think that's as easy. I would go with Shaq, but I feel like you're Dwight Howard and you're overseas playing.
I might go with Dwight Howard.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you could go with Dwight because he's playing overseas in freaking Taiwan right now. Now, granted, that's money, of course. Yeah, you got money and stuff like that, but Dwight Howard has had, if anybody outside of injury has had any reason to quit basketball, I feel like Dwight Howard has many reasons to quit, but he's still playing. And he's still vocal about wanting to be back in the NBA.
He's made way more money than Shaq made. He has accolades.
Right.
I mean, what doesn't Dwight Howard have outside of being in the top 75 player for some weird ass reason?
Some weird reason, and I think he doesn't have that. I think his longevity, you know, which might not be as far, you know, injury and stuff like that, but I do think his reputation to kind of be a goofy, like a goofball, kind of hurt him.
Yeah, that's what I think it's his reputation. But shit, even longevity, Dwight Howard played for a minute.
Well, I'm sorry. My fault. I meant longevity being at the pinnacle. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a short window of being great. Yeah, that's my fault. I didn't elaborate on that. Yeah, you're right. He definitely has longevity, but I meant like he had quite a kind of a short span of being dominant. Let me say that. That's what I meant. My fault.
Okay, so let me. Ooh, this might be controversial. People don't kill me because I love him, but I'm just trying to think. How many more seasons was AI relevant compared to Dwight Howard?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I have to
think about Dwight Howard with no flash in the pan. Now, don't get it twisted.
Nah. I would give Dwight 3 years in Orlando.
You would say that he was relevant for 3 years?
Well, no. When I say relevant, not relevant. I think he was relevant for longer than that. But I'm talking about like MVP consideration, top player in the league. I would say 3 years. AI.
I would say definitely. Go ahead.
No. You go ahead, bro. I'm I was gonna say AI. I would say AI about the same, a little bit more though. I would say AI a little bit longer. It's just that AI had maybe 2 years to where his dominance was so good that his team was considered a threat to be a contender.
Yeah, but that's what I would say about Dwight Howard. I would say it's a little bit closer. I would say it was closer to like 5 years of dominant big man.
Okay.
And then he started getting injured. Because I think you got to remember when he went to the damn Lakers, he was supposed to be the best player in the league.
Right.
At that time. Right. They're supposed to win the chip. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't get it. And I'm even thinking when AI left Philly, he was supposed to be, one of the better players, but he wasn't still considered to be the baddest man in the league. Like Dwight Howard was considered the best big man, period.
Yeah, when he went to the Lakers,
I think
that's what deteriorated.
Yeah, so I think
his
3.
reputation.
I think he had a good year, maybe 2, where he was kind of becoming, like really coming for everybody, and then he had like 3 good years where, he carried them. He do Turkoglu and them boys to the finals. You know what I'm saying? And then the Lakers years, he like the first year, he kind of balled out. Then he started getting injured. So I was giving him about 5, but then he still went back and had a significant ass career, like as a role player. Like he didn't just fall off.
Right.
You know
so as a role player, I agree. I'm not saying he wasn't effective, but I would say to be, I don't know, to be dominant. Yeah, I would stick with the 3 that I said. I would say he was dominant. Like you said, with the LA, he went, but he didn't.
I wouldn't. I can't argue too bad with it.
I have to go look though. You know what I'm saying? This is just off the top of my head.
That's off the list. I have to go look.
Yeah,
I have to go look.
Yeah, I'll also have to go look. But I know when left.
Thinking the Magic went through they went through their steps. They wasn't like a flash in the pan. They went first round loss, second round loss, third round loss. Then they went to the finals. Like he was good that entire time.
That's a fact.
That's kind of how I was looking at it.
Yeah, with Rashard Lewis, Hedo Turkoglu, Jameer Nelson. Yeah, you're right.
Right. Oh, Jameer
Nelson, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll have to look, but the reason why I asked that question was Shaq and him, because I think that goes to back what you were saying with the passion. It's
the passion conversation. Yeah.
That joke is that it's hard to quantify, man, and I guess it just matters what angle. Like I said, I would lean towards Shaq. But I think you can make an argument for it. I think a lot of people will brush off Dwight, but I think you can make that's a good argument. I think it's a good debate. I would lean towards Shaq. Of course, people will say, "Oh, he's playing because he has whatever extramarital affairs or whatever. What the heck? Or I don't know if he was married or whatever, but he has a lot of kids with different people and stuff like that. So he has child support. He got, but I mean, Shaq, everybody got their responsibilities, man. So I think they have the commonality is that they have a passion for the game, and it's hard, because I like you said, I think that was a good. I do think it's hard to argue that anybody would have more passion for the game than Kobe, because you hear about the stories about him going to people asking him to go to the club. He'd be like, "Oh no, I'm not going to the club." And then he mess around, find out he's at the gym practicing. But just because you're not practicing doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have a certain passion.
The most passion, right?
Right. So that was a good point. Yeah, that was a good point. But I do think it's hard. It would be hard to argue somebody who doesn't practice, like a Shaq or something like that.
Doesn't have passion at all, right?
Right. It would be hard to argue that they had more passion than Kobe. You know what I'm saying? But to say that they don't have any passion or just an equal amount of passion, just expressed in a different way, that's kind of hard. Yeah. So no, you're right about that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know how to measure that. That was a good conversation though, man. But at the end of the day, I still think people are looking too deep into the Canelo. So I do think it's something to consider with him saying that he doesn't like boxing, but I don't think it's any type of any type of hint or any type of what's the word I'm looking for?
Indication.
Thank you, bro. It's any type of indication that he's gonna lose this fight against. Yeah, thank you. I don't think it's any type of indication without your reach that he's going to lose to Charlo. Now, if he gets blown out the water, it's going to be easy to say that, okay, maybe maybe because he don't like boxing, but I don't think it's any indication. Thank you, bro. Yeah, so I don't know who I have, though, with early fight predictions. With that being said, man, Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. I don't know who I got to win. I guess I'll tell the night of the fight who I'm going for, but off of preliminary predictions, I'm going to go with Charlo, man. I don't know if it's because I hope Charlo wins. I feel like Charlo winning would be better for boxing, in my opinion.
Charlo?
Yeah. The reason why I think Charlo winning would be better because Charlo would answer so many questions with beating Canelo. It would be like, oh, is he serious? Because I'm not going to lie, man. Charlo's a beast. But his resume isn't that spectacular either. Let's be real. Neither one of the Charlo brothers' resumes are that spectacular.
Right.
The spectacular part is that they get the job done. But
man, I like the Charlos. I like. Listen, I hate when I do this, but I like the story. I like, the fanfare behind them.
Right.
I like the promotion of them.
Right.
But I'm not finna sit here and tell you that there's anything significant about their boxing style that I like or love.
Right.
They fight. They willing to brawl. They willing to get in there and put their nose in. But I'm not really into that when it's like boxing. That's science in there to me. Like that shit about angles and foot movement. Boy, all that finna go brawl. Your ass finna get beat up.
Right.
If you fight somebody who really know what they're doing in that square circle, that's not street fight.
Right.
Like that's why I say it's hard to do the passion thing because I don't think it got anything to do with being a tough guy or being, wanting to beat people up. Like you really getting out. Like thought in there. Like that's why I love it. Like Terence Crawford, like he out-thought Errol Spence.
That's a fact.
Like, clearly. And I don't know if Charlo can do that shit with Canelo because I don't think he's finna get in there and beat him down.
Exactly.
I don't think he can do that. So how he gonna beat him? That's the question I got. How and in what way are you gonna be able to beat him?
Right. And then even like and even with the, if you look at his losses, granted he avenged all of his losses, that being Jermell Charlo, but he lost to Tony Harrison when he, came in, quote unquote, had a bad night. And we've seen other, shout out to, I don't know if you remember Paul Williams, he got in a motorcycle accident, got paralyzed and stuff.
Yeah, Paul Williams, absolutely, man. Long body Paul Williams.
Right, exactly. Paul Williams had a night where, who was it against? Bro, the dude's name is on the tip of my tongue, man. It was a Hispanic dude.
Ooh, I know exactly.
He mailed it in, and then he came back and beat him in like 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying? But he still came in and had a bad night. I can't remember the dude's name, man. But Charlo did the same thing with Tony Harrison. He came in with Tony Harrison, and he lost. He mailed it in, had a bad night, and he came back and beat him convincingly. But but the fact that Canelo, he's more seasoned. He doesn't really have those off nights, if you will. Even though he lost to Bivol, but Bivol, he was taking a risk. He went up against Dimitri Bivol. But let's look at the Charlo's opponents. He had a draw against Castano, and he came back and beat him by KO in the 10th round, I believe. But it was still like, Brian Carlos Castano, he's good. But outside of Castano and Tony Harrison, I guess he beat Austin Trout. Both Charlo brothers beat Austin Trout. But even then, Canelo also.
I ain't never really like Austin Trout.
I was hoping for Austin Trout to be good. But yeah, you're right. There's nothing, that stands out about any of their resumes. So this is definitely by far the biggest challenge that he'll have. So
this is his biggest challenge by far, and it's another like people don't. The thing I like about Canelo that you can realize when you watch him fight is he really is a student of boxing. That's why I say I don't know about the passion. He's really good at it.
Right.
He transforms after every fight.
That's a fact.
So I think fighting, Bivol, so much fighting all that size, like he learned so much. It's gonna be almost impossible to just beat him up at 154. Like I don't think Charlo can pull that off. I don't think he has nowhere near enough size for that. After he's already had that type of fight, and then he had, like I said, the biggest learning lesson was through Floyd. I think I hope it's not a real mismatch, but I think he's gonna tear his ass apart.
Yeah,
but we'll see. And just because he hasn't had the fight doesn't mean he doesn't have it in him. So he's gonna show me if he can pull it off.
That part,
and I'll give him that. I give it to him like a man. I ain't think he had it. He gonna have to show me, but I haven't seen anything to show me that he can beat him.
That's a fact, though. I agree with that. And then with people saying that Canelo didn't beat what's the dude he just fought? John Ryder, and he didn't beat him as convincingly as people thought he would. And of course, Bivol. So it's easy
to get these names right.
Yeah, it's easy to pile on to Canelo right now, but you can't take away that Canelo has Sugar Shane Mosley on his belt. He has Floyd on his belt. You know what I'm saying? He has, even though he lost, but he has his experience. He has Caleb Plant, who's another fighter that potentially could fight Charlos, and he could potentially beat both of the Charlos. You know what I'm saying? And with Jermell Charlo, you could argue that who the heck is a better Charlo? Is it Jamal or is it Jermell? Jamal is undefeated. Jermell is the one that's fighting Canelo. He's not undefeated, but he avenged all his losses and his draw. But you could argue that Jamal is better. But Jamal, he was going through the he had mental health issues. Said he's not really physically, he's not mentally able to make that kind of commitment right now. But you could argue who's a better Charlo. I don't know, but
see, that type of stuff he got it. I don't mean to just get into this, but this ain't the type of sport for those type of statements. Those type of statements that scare me. Yeah. He needs to not be boxing anymore. Yeah, that shit needs to be over with.
And then
I'm not mentally ready. Right. This is not the sport for that.
Right.
Just leave it alone. Once you get to that state, just leave it alone.
I agree. That's where it's very hard.
You did your thing, and that shit will get you killed.
Right. And especially, in the extracurricular stuff with their wives and, their wives at the what the last fight was. The last big fight. Spence and Crawford. Their wives and girlfriends, respectively, I think it was Jermell Charlo's wife and Jamal Charlo's girlfriend. Their wives and girlfriends, respectively. I might have had to flip flop, but anyway, it was whoever their significant others. They're over there fighting at the fight. So it's like all this stuff, and then you having the mental doubts or mental issues, whether it's we don't want mental health is serious, but if whether you're having doubts or you're just not focused or whatever it is, like you said, bro, it's not the type. This is an unforgiving sport, man. It's not a sport that you want to have those issues with. And when you have a lot of extracurricular stuff going on, just as easy as I can say that Canelo might not like boxing, shoot, Charlo might not be as focused on boxing. You know what I'm saying? So he said right, and even with the distraction of simply Bud calling you out and you paying attention to that, even if you're not paying attention to that, you're focused on Canelo. But every other day, Dr. PG mentioned Bud and gonna ask you about that. Dr. TC asked you about that. Breakfast Club asked you about that. You know what I'm saying? Bud Crawford himself is calling you out, so you paying attention to that. So it's like, are you focused on Canelo? But whether it's voluntarily or involuntarily.
That's actually the big fish for real.
Right.
Errol Spence was not Canelo the big fish. Terence Crawford is not the big fish. If you could beat Canelo, you got something really under your belt.
So
you don't get it twisted.
Exactly. So I think that it's hard to argue that you could say that Charlo's more focused than Canelo, but we'll see though, man. I think like I said, I personally, I'm leaning towards Charlo right now. I don't have any type of measurable or any type of justification why I'm picking Charlo, besides a hope, a wish, and I just think it'll be better for boxing because I feel like the options are, I don't know, the options are better, more interesting for me, and more exciting if Charlo wins. Like, you know what I'm saying? He'll answer a lot of questions about being serious. Being a serious I don't want to say contender. He's already a contender, but a serious great,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. He's on that path to be a great. Then we could talk about him and Crawford, their clash being one for the ages. He could even fight Caleb Plant, who he could even fight Caleb Plant, who slapped him up.
Slapped him up.
Yeah, there's so many different avenues. I feel like if Alvarez fights, who's he gonna fight? I mean, I guess he could potentially fight the other Charlo. Who else? I mean, what else could Canelo do? I don't know. So I think it'll be more exciting. As the boxing enthusiast to me, I want Charlo to win, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. But yeah, man. So
I feel you on that.
yeah, that's the end of September though, man. And speaking of the end of September and these months closing in, we're gonna close that one out. We also have the beginning of the school year, man, for these freshmen coming into college. What do you think they could expect coming into college, man? Reminiscing on some of your days coming in as a freshman, if you could recall some of those events and stuff like that. What advice could you give to them?
College,
what can they expect?
They can expect a different world than where you come from.
A different world. Hey, shout out to the 80s and 90s sitcoms.
You know what I'm talking about? Absolutely, man. Hopefully fun. Hopefully they can embrace it, man. Enjoy is definitely different. A whole lot of responsibilities start in a couple days. You got a whole different set of responsibilities if you come in as a freshman.
Right.
Regardless of what kind of school you've been to.
Right.
College is a different animal. Regardless of what college you're going to, it's just different.
It's
a different world, man. A lot of things you got to do on your own. A lot of things pulling you a lot of different ways. A lot of decisions to make.
Right.
Teaching yourself about life. It's time to go learn about life and figure out what you really want to do with it.
Yeah.
These few days you got on this beautiful earth.
Facts,
it may be, it's still few.
That's a fact.
So yeah, it's time to go. Change your life.
Yeah,
make something out yourself.
Yeah, I think with college, man, one of the big eye openers for me was that like you said, the responsibility and the independence, man, is like coming from I was working before I came to college and stuff like that, helping out with the bills and say kind of essentially the man of the house and stuff like that. So when I come to college, I'm used to that part, but at the same time, my mom still demands that respect and that. So I still got to come in at a certain time, still got to do this, still got to do that. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not doing this, they'll ask me about it. You know what I'm saying? Are you doing this? You doing that? I'm just making sure that I'm on top of my game. But like when you go to college, man, the teachers don't care about you. They're not gonna ask you if you're doing your homework. It's either you did it or you didn't. Either you did it or you didn't. You didn't do it. Boom, that's easy for me. Some of the professors will even encourage the fact that you don't do it because there's less papers to grade. So it's like,
I'm telling you.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, that was very, especially if you go into a college you don't know anybody unless you're going with a group of friends. But like you go in there and you knew, I would just say that independence I felt like I was already independent and like a contributor to my household and stuff like that. But the fact that you don't have to answer to anybody, and everybody's different too. Everybody's situation is not the same, but you don't have to answer to anybody. Everything that you're getting is essentially, every decision that you make is essentially yours. Whether you do what you're supposed to do or don't do what you're supposed to do, that's on you. So that was an eye opener, man. When I came into college, I knew I was gonna be by myself, but I didn't know it was gonna be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like those first couple of weeks was it was fun, but at the same time it was like, dang, it was I ain't gonna say lonely, but it was just like an eye opener. It was like, dang, man, if I don't do this, then nobody really cares. So I got to make sure I stay on top of my game and just make sure you handle your business.
Yeah,
and
man.
Make sure you appreciate those
support
system that you have. Make sure if you have a support system, make sure you appreciate that. I'll just say, yeah, man. Like you said, have fun and make sure you also accomplish what you came here for too.
Accomplish what you came for. That definitely is the most important thing. I think I definitely agree with that though. Just it's a lot of freedom. I had a lot of freedom in high school. I had a lot of responsibility too, just like you know what I'm saying. I had more freedom than most. I would say that in high school, but it's still not even. It's not even close to the same because you have so much more responsibilities.
Right.
Because of your course load, the extracurricular stuff you want to do.
Right.
Just even the timing of school, like not having a set time where your first class is going to be compared to your last class, or which days you actually have to go to school compared to which ones you don't. which days you can hang out, which days you can't, like
Yep.
putting limitations on yourself. The rhythm of college is nothing like, high school. It's just,
Yep.
it's different. It's more like the real world. Things that come, it's almost even less like the real world, because the real world is even a little more structured
That's true.
than college itself
That's
is.
a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
You cuss out the
So-
teacher, ain't nobody calling your mama saying that you cuss out the teacher, they just kick you out of class.
Yes,
You know what I'm
kick you out of
saying?
class. They kick you out. They gonna call the police.
They call the police, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's
Call the police, right? You know what I'm saying? You didn't do
a
this
public
assignment,
domain. You cannot be acting the fool in these people's classroom.
right?
All
Right.
that. Yeah, you want to show out and this and that. They do not have any patience for that type of stuff. You
Nope.
gotta go. And most people who go to college, try not to be that.
Right.
And some of these knuckleheads actually making it on campus and causing a ruckus for no reason.
No reason, bro.
Because that's this really not the place for it. It ain't the place for your beefs. It ain't the place for
Nope.
you to be, settling stuff with that you have with people.
Right.
There's too many people paying for this, man, to be
Right.
having that type of foolishness going on. There's
Mhm.
people like real livelihoods. So,
Yep.
yeah, man, just like you said, go get the job done, enjoy it. Lean on people you get to know. Reach out to people you may not know that might need some help.
Right.
Y'all look me up, lean on me. Send me an
Facts.
email. Find me
Facts.
somewhere. I don't care. I talk to anybody to make sure everybody get it done.
Exactly.
Make us all better. If everybody, really trying to succeed, that make us all better as a world community, I say.
That's a fact. That's
So,
a fact, man. I like that.
Get out there and make it happen, freshman.
Make it happen, freshman. Yes, sir. Get suited to booty for school. Handle your business. Make sure you go to financial aid. Make sure your
Don't burn that
is
financial
posted.
aid money.
Don't burn that financial aid money on no Jordans or no dates. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're applying that to books or whatever it's there for. Make sure it's posted to your account. If you don't do it, you just no one else is gonna make sure that it's fixed for you. You know what I'm saying? Or apply where it's supposed to be. So you got to just have accountability. Speaking of schools, man, Florida's been going through it. We're in Florida boys, and old punk ass DeSantis, he been posting some stuff about, they have some new laws about, things that you can and can't do in the classroom from a faculty perspective, from a teacher or professor perspective, particularly in grade school. Like one of the things is that they say is woke. I feel like woke is a new code for black. They try to say that they trying to, there's a law that's basically, essentially, you go read it for yourself. But the Florida legislature right now is essentially saying that the teachers are obligated. They made it obligatory for teachers not to tell, essentially, what I consider the truth. About our America in its historical manner. In a historical context, and they're trying to say that slavery was, quote unquote, beneficial to those that are enslaved. And I don't know if whipping somebody of their rights, beating on somebody, separating families, I don't know how that could ever be justified as being beneficial. But the fact that if these teachers or those or counselors or those that are placed in the positions to teach and educate can't even tell the students what the truth is, then it's like it erases the accountability, man. And it's like, if you don't know what your history was, then how can you move forward in the proper manner? How can you correct the mistakes of yesterday if you don't even acknowledge that there were mistakes in the first place? So it puts these teachers in the tough spot to, bro, they could get reprimanded by not just only suspension or reduction of pay, but they can even get fired and lose their job. So a lot of these teachers are fighting back and they're protesting. And how do you think that's going? If you've been paying attention, how do you think that's going right now? How do you think?
Man, I'm always paying attention. I live on the front line in this. Like this, one of the misconceptions that people think is that these bills that are being introduced are somehow only affecting elementary schools, somehow it's grade schools. I'm a collegiate teacher in the Florida State University system. Right. This is directly affecting my colleagues. It's not something that I personally have to talk about a lot. But if I choose to, there could be issues. I'm an engineer, it's math based, and I have to deal with too much of history. All of our stuff is present.
Right.
But even topics and things that I may want to say or do in the classroom can be directly affected, or people can have pushback, based on their feelings about their interpretation of things.
Right.
One thing that they never seem to be doing is denying that it happened. that what they're trying to do is deny or erase the effects of it.
Right.
And I just, I commend all the teachers in Florida and all the unions from elementary school all the way up to, like I said, the collegiate level, technical level. I think anything factual in history should be allowed to be taught, no matter what it may be.
Should be mandated, not allowed. Should be mandated. You should have to tell
That's
the
the
truth.
thing when we start mandating. That's my thing. You mandate one way, they want to mandate the opposite way. We need to stop mandating everything. Like that's what really opens the gate for them to even make decisions like this, right? Because they're, the overview of their argument is what's the tangible benefit of teaching these things outside of the emotional separation between those being taught, right? And my first thought is that, like you said, first of all, I believe we can teach any factual subject and draw the correct reasoning and understanding of why to teach it. If we're talking about history, why do you teach slavery? I mean, there could be a multiple, plethora of amount of reasons on why. And it doesn't have to be targeted, as the way they put it, as being woke or trying to turn one race against the next. There's a lot of positive teachings from learning such a traumatic event that happened. There's a lot of things you can teach people about how to move forward. And first of all, never even want to think of allowing something like that to happen again. But also, we need to understand how to not allow slavery to happen to Americans against the rest of the world also. That is a case study of the type of things that can happen to a people that are uninformed, as we're trying to make our children right now. We're making them extremely uninformed, which may allow them to be enslaved by another country in the next 50 years if we don't be careful about what the hell we decide to teach them. Because I think I know a couple people I've told this before, but we're trying to run from these mistakes. And I keep telling people the world's too small. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to go. Right. So you can try to hide these books, but the inherent lessons that we won't teach will one way find us. They will find us some way, and the world will teach us if we don't decide to teach our children. I don't see why they're so scared of facing the past, except the fact that they may not want to change the future. They may want it to still be that way, so they're trying to repeat it. That's my only good reasoning for it, and I don't really appreciate even that thought or that premise to have to think like that.
Right.
But I don't understand the reason to not teach history. Like I said on the last show before, if we're not going to teach that, then we shouldn't teach any of it. I don't give a damn about all the civil wars. Let's stop talking about that. Let's stop talking about how we came over here. Let's stop talking about why these states got certain names. Don't tell me about different colonies. Don't tell me about our government system and all these old ass presidents, all this Constitution, Bill of Rights, all of this stuff. I don't really want to hear it if we can't teach Black history, African American history, Native history, any history that, hell, women's history, all different minorities, Asian history, whatever it may be. If we can't teach all of it, if our teachers can't be empowered to do it all, then I don't think they should have to do any of it. That's just how I personally feel, because I think it's just, like I said, it's a road to destruction to me. Like, if we allow it, it's gonna cause a lot more harm than we think. Right. I believe that we need to mobilize with shit like this when it comes to fighting against laws. We can't always say we can't keep talking about who's doing it. Do something about it. Right. That's what the slaves had to do. See, those type of things teach you. Learning about slavery teaches you that rebellion against the system is often necessary for progress. Right. And allowing things like these laws to be changed is another form of what slaves were put through. A few people were making decisions about the masses that weren't benefiting them. Right. But you don't learn those type of things if you're scared to even face it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
like, it doesn't always have to be black versus white. I know how I feel about the opposite cultures that are around me, that
Right.
still doesn't mean that I didn't benefit from learning a lot about the things that happened in slavery. So
Well, so
it's crazy to me, but yeah, man, it's affecting all of us.
yeah,
So
so
be
that's why
careful.
I agree with what you're saying, but that's why I say that it should be mandated. I know you said that the mandates are what make it or what puts it in the position we're in, but I disagree with that because I feel like what they're making obligatory is for people to give a perspective. I think it should be the truth should always be mandated, in my opinion. So if you want to deduce that slavery was beneficial to those that were enslaved, that's the deduction that you made. That's the conclusion that you arrived to. But the truth is that motherfuckers were enslaved. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that part, because history is what they say is his separated to his story, whoever's telling it. But if you tell it holistically that this happened, there's no doubting that slavery. There's no doubt that slavery occurred. If your goofy ass or your racist ass or your white ass or whoever it is that thinks or black ass or Hispanic ass or whatever, gay, straight, whatever, anywhere in between, Christian, atheist, if you want to conclude that it was beneficial to a certain person or a certain people, then that's on you. But the story needs to be told of what happened, and what happened was that slavery happened, and the fact is, a lot of the results of slavery was that families were separated, people were mistreated, people were abused, people were sexually assaulted, people were used, people were treated less than human. Then, if whatever you want to deduce out of it, that's your business. I'm not saying to advocate for the result, but the fact that DeSantis and others are saying that they have to teach that it was beneficial to a certain people, that's your perspective. And I don't know how you could, I don't even care how you could perceive something as inhumane as slavery to be beneficial to anybody, especially those that are victimized by it. That I don't even care. But if that's what you want to conclude, that's fine. But to force people to say that that was the result, to me, that's preposterous. You know what I'm saying? But I think that it should be talked about with everything else. I agree with you 1,000%. But I do think that the truth, and you can say truth is dependent on perspective, but I don't think events are perspective. It's like, for example, the Civil War. Or sorry, not even the Civil War. Sorry, I meant to say the Revolutionary. You can use Civil War too. But let's say the Revolutionary War, where America essentially separated from England, right? If you want to say the Revolutionary War, if you want to say, oh, if you're English, that was bad for them. If you want to say, well, if you're American, that was good for them, or or Native American, it was bad for you, or saying, well, what we consider American now is good for you, whatever. That's your conclusion. But the fact of the matter is, there was a war that was fought, and it was essentially won by somebody. Somebody gained independence, and somebody lost territories or whatever. Then whatever you want to conclude, that's your business. But to mandate that, oh, this was good for these certain amount of people, that's what I have the issue with. And I think it's very dangerous, like you already acknowledged. Like I said, everything else I agree with you, what you said. I think it's very dangerous. How can you be a proponent for change if you don't even know what you want to change from? You know what I'm saying? I think it's very dangerous to act like these things didn't happen or only happened in this way for the benefit of these people or those people. And yeah, so everything else I agree with. I just think that the truth should be told. And the truth is that these events occurred. And for a lot of people that you're saying that it benefited for, it was a complete contrary to what you're saying it benefited. You know what I'm saying? There's no benefit in me losing, you know what I'm saying? Not me personally, but, well, yeah, me personally, but just somewhere down the line, my forefathers and my foremothers, they, they lost their brother, their sister, their mother, their son. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that could be beneficial, so. Yeah, so that's the only part. That's the only part I'll take exception to. But everything else, I think you hit on the head, man. I think you hit on the head.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I believe
I don't understand that.
when I try to look at stuff like you say from a holistic point of view, and the reality of the situation is the people that were asking to change these laws don't actually want to do anything about slavery. That's the first thing. Like,
they don't even want to acknowledge it as a negative blotch on the history. You know what I'm saying? That's the part.
Right.
That
so
makes me mad.
That's the thing. So if they in this situation, you would say that his only acknowledgement would be to try to find the I don't know what jail you want to call it. I'm not even saying. I'm not even.
They look for loopholes.
I don't even want to give it a positive adjective to say what they're looking for.
Yeah, they looking for less accountability, and they trying to manipulate what happened, and so because they feel guilty or
right. But,
it's not your guilt.
That's the thing. Like the more decisions that happen to be made by people, the more shit gets to me convoluted. Like we have to start and go back to, okay, well, how much time in public classrooms are we going to fund on history? That has to be a topic. Then of the history of the entire world, what are we going to actually focus on? Like the more of this shit we start to try to box into our children's education, the harder it is to actually, I guess you can say, like once you start mandating shit, the harder it is to actually have any leeway or any loose part of education.
I agree with you on that. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
So I guess the hard part from our perspective is, how do we actually convince these clowns the benefits of actually discussing slavery outside of what was bad, so we need to talk about it. Okay. Or y'all should change it.
So this is my point. Did anybody, we're in America, so I don't know, but they figured out a way to make us all learn about Revolutionary War. They figured out a way to make us all learn about Civil War. I don't know anybody.
Take all that shit out.
Right. So I don't know anybody who's been raised who came up through the public school system that didn't learn about these significant, quote unquote, significant wars. So why is that part of history, which happens to be slavery, why is that any less significant, or why do we have to I feel like, as if I have my child.
If I had to rebut you, my only issue with that is, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree, but you just answered my question with a question.
What's that?
That's the thing that's hard about it. Like once you start mandating.
No, so you have to talk about these things.
Because you said, I said, okay, well, what's the significance of showing slavery? I don't exactly know how to articulate that, right? That's not my area. I know that I believe in some positive to it, right?
Right.
But how do I convince other people? It's not all, I know what's in me, but how do I actually put the argument together, right?
So that's my point. So I don't think that you should.
What is our argument?
There's no argument. There's no convincing. It's an event that happened. There's no way that you can speak about the Civil War without speaking about slavery. There's no way you can speak about anything historical without speaking of something that's also historical. Now, if you want to say that, to me, this is.
I agree with you, but I agree with you, but you have to understand that they clearly don't agree with that, because they're trying to do that right now.
Right. So that's my point. So they're trying to force a conclusion upon you. If some punk ass, well, I don't even want to say ethnicity on it. If whoever you are, whether you black, white, Hispanic, male, female, somewhere in between, if you want to conclude that slavery was beneficial, then that's fine. My issue is that they're forcing a conclusion upon these teachers and people. They're forcing you to conclude and tell people that slavery was beneficial. No, let me draw my own conclusion. Give me the facts. Tell me why slavery started, how long it was, why it happened, when it happened, where it happened, just like any other historical event.
That's what we agree.
Right.
That's why I say in the first place, it's for me to stand with the teachers of Florida. If you're gonna make me teach this, then allow me to teach it the way that I want to teach it.
Right.
The facts I can. Right. I can display the facts. It's not right. I don't mean to say it like this, but even the teacher's opinion is valuable to the students if they know the perspective they're coming from when they're telling them the facts. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you open up to stop mandating the way they teach. Allow them to teach the facts, and also let it be known that they do have inherent biases. Like I have an inherent bias as a fucking scientist to what I like, the way that I teach it. Like that, I can't disassociate myself from that. Right. They're asking too much to mandate everything. You disassociating people from their opinions, like you said. Right. But give them the facts. Give the
facts. That's my point. I'm not saying to mandate a conclusion. You know what I'm saying? Just like I never seen
exactly.
I'm not saying that you have to make it obligatory for me to teach a conclusion, but to be fair to the parents, they should know what topics are being. That's what curriculums are for. If you know what I'm saying, if you look at the curriculums and what people get in their classes, usually that's the whole point of it. Not the whole point, but that's part of the point. So people can know what they're putting their child into. But if you're gonna tell me that such and such, I'm gonna teach you about this historical event, and I'm gonna say that this was beneficial. When do they do that? Like, do they? like even evolution. Like let's we're both scientists, if you will. That's just funny, but we both science majors. Even evolution, bro. Like I believe in. I'm a God fearing man, and I believe in evolution to a certain extent, but I don't believe in it to the extent of which I would say strictly those of the scientific community or everybody in the scientific community believes in this. For example, I remember in biology we were learning about evolution, and I remember that I remember me and my classmate, he was a Christian. They asked us about, they were talking about, going from evolving from essentially an ape to a human. And my friend, he put that he don't believe in that because, he believes in whatever. He said it's against his religion. But I studied that and I learned that and I got a grade. He got a grade. And I was mad because he didn't answer the question. He just put that this is against his religion to believe that way. But he got the same grade as me. However, I still to this day I think this is false true. I don't think he should have. I think he should have got I'm not gonna hate on him. I ain't never been no hater. But I do feel like personally, I feel like he should have got an X or whatever, or he should have got deducted because what they're teaching, like what you're saying, what the teacher is teaching at this moment, we're teaching about evolution. I don't give a fuck if somebody thought that we came from a butterfly to a dragon and then de-evolved into a human. Whatever they teaching us in that class, as long as my parents are aware of it, then I gotta look at the book, whatever book we're using, and I gotta regurgitate that information. That don't mean that I believe I came from a fucking monkey. That don't believe, what I'm saying? I don't believe, that don't mean I'm any less spiritual than him or any less religious than him or her. But it does mean that for whatever reason, I'm in this class and I grasped that information that was given and I regurgitated that on the test to reflect that my aptitude for learning. So I'm not saying that you have to, let me tell you, I'm not saying, let me try to give a cohesive thought. I'm not saying that you have to necessarily agree with it, but to say that people have to draw this conclusion and to ignore an event that happened based off what's being taught in this class, like history, then I feel like that's misleading, like you said. I'm not saying that they should be able to, they should have to say maybe somebody does feel like slavery was beneficial or slavery was bad, but you have to give the facts to teach people to make their own decision. Like I don't have to necessarily believe in it, but for this test or for whatever it is, I have to know that information. Because that's what it was, quote unquote, whatever. This is what was recorded or documented that this happened. So I don't know. I don't know if that was a good example, but I don't know if that.
It was a good example. I agree with that.
Because some people feel like they have factual evidence that we came from this and they came from this. Whether I believe it or not, that's my business. But you know, if I'm taking that class, then I got to answer this question based on what we were taught. But to say that, I don't know. I feel like that's different.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you though. I think this also goes to when it comes to things like the arts and humanities.
Right.
People have this misconception as though people like teachers or professors are telling you what to believe.
Right.
Where I believe it's more of what has happened and possibly what they believe about it. And maybe even from a younger age, like we have to stop being so worried about allowing our students, our children to know things and to start to develop their thoughts about them.
Right.
Like I said, that's, my main thing is, I don't care how many ways they want to put it. I don't know what the other way around this road is, but they're not going to be able to hide from that history. It's just not going to happen no matter how much they may try.
Right. And ignore it or to force people to draw a conclusion, and to me, how are you going to learn from something that you're not even fully acknowledging that happened? It's like, you could say,
I think it's just more, it's more of a, you're ending up, it's like a double negative where you think because you hide some, you're improving one thing where you're actually causing more issues to the current population,
bro,
whether it's race relations or interrace relations,
bro.
You know what I mean? How white people look at other white people, how black people look at other black people. How it's not just across races; it's all these things that could be more cohesive if we knew more
Right.
about our past and the things that were downfalls for how we all come together and how much things are better as the world has changed and how it's actually changed, how the progress is made because of these actual changes, as opposed to
Exactly.
glorifying things that were way worse back then anyway. So
Exactly.
like, why would you want to go back to that?
Why would you want to go
Like,
back to that?
You can tell the story of slavery
Or
as a
anything.
part
It
of
doesn't have
the
to be
progression
slavery.
of America.
That's just a topic.
It could be anything.
It could be anything, bro.
Fucking steel mills and how,
Right.
I mean,
It could be
the
anything,
Great
bro.
Depression, how that
anything,
the
bro.
benefits of the Great Depression. They talk about that all the time.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? It was
Thank
a terrible
you.
time, something that happened. The benefits of post-Holocaust, like what that did for
bro.
that community after,
Right.
People will recognize what happened, how the world galvanized behind them. You have to still learn about the event first.
Imagine if they said ignore that.
Find those things in it. So
imagine if they said ignore that, or that was beneficial to such and such parties. Come on, bro. It's like,
yeah,
so,
exactly.
Let's keep it funky, man. It's like, and to be fair, I got love for everybody, but those that feel guilty, in the Bible it also says that a son should not inherit his father's sins. That doesn't mean that you should ignore it. You know what I'm saying? But part of it is knowing that, okay, this happened, so let's correct it. So they could hide behind, oh, I don't want people to be more hateful towards one another. That's not it. It's the fact that you don't want to have accountability or even admit that certain people or certain groups of people are have this stigma or looked upon or in this position partly or mostly because of their historical significance of things that occurred or transpired against their ancestors, to which is why they're in this position in the first place. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that means that's not an excuse. Everybody can come up out of what they're doing, and that's what America is dope for, because it is the land of the free, the land of dreams, and you can accomplish whatever you put your mind to. But to assume or pretend that everybody's on an even playing field, that's completely inaccurate. Everybody's not on an even playing field, but that doesn't mean that you can't accomplish your dreams. Just because you start off behind don't mean that you can't, catch up or even surpass, or you know what I'm saying? So I think that fear is to not necessarily to preserve race relations, but in fact it's to further superiority of certain classes and certain people over other ones, because you know what I'm saying, when you rob somebody of the history, man, you if you don't know where you're from, you don't know where you're going. How you gonna know where you're going? You don't know where you're from. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know what you accomplished, it's I don't know, man. I don't know. If you don't know what, you know what I'm saying, the adversity that you have stacked against you, man, and whatever you are, so like that. What if we ignored the effects of the Holocaust? What if we ignored the effects of anything? Even if let's not even talk about people. What if we ignore the effects of I don't know.
I mean, it's
integration
that's
sports.
what I'm saying. It's
integrating sports.
It's the same thing. It can be anything. It's just, I think it's ignoring history, but I believe the biggest issue is they're trying to ignore the efforts that are necessary to actually
rectify
make the changes that they say they want. They make the changes that they say they want to see in the world,
because they don't want the changes, right?
Everybody wants there to be this no poverty, great middle class, and upper class, and but nobody wants to acknowledge the efforts that are necessary from the foundation of where we came from. So if it's never been that, why are we expecting that? Let's talk about the efforts that it takes to get there. But to do that, we got to talk about, well, you're talking about a poor class and a high class. Slavery show you a hell of an example of that.
What transpired, what I mean? Right?
So do you want to start from the actual foundation, or you want to kind of keep trying to build on this shaky ass soil?
Manipulate,
and that's what I mean.
Manipulate instead of sabotage, right? So like you said, I mean, like, even if you look at the titles, I saw my boy DZ. He said Abe Lincoln said it himself. He understood there was a hierarchy in America, and if he had it his way, white man would stay on top. Facts. So like, even if you look at that, let's consider this for a moment. Even if you look at our titles, you know what I'm saying? We call our what do we call it in America? Up until recently, they kind of changed it, but me and you were called African Americans. For us to always acknowledge and never forget that we came from Africa to America? What if you're Puerto Rican or you're from Latin America? They call you Hispanic Americans, you know what I'm saying, or or Mexican Americans, to acknowledge your place of origin. Even if you're from here, they call you Native Americans. There's another adjective. You're not just. And who are the Americans? European American. Why were they? No one's called a European American. I've never heard Mark Cuban called a European American. I've never heard Billy Joel called a European American. You know, but I hear Jordan called an African American. So even that,
Right.
it might seem inconsequential, but that is also.
No, it's not inconsequential.
Yeah, it's not, because we know me and you were quote unquote woke, like they talk about, but we're black. You know what I'm saying? And there's shout out to my white folks and Hispanic folks and males and females, everybody. You know, it's just opening your eyes, bro. There's always, even if you're from America, the Native Americans, they add to their American. They're not just American. So. You know, the beauty of America is our diversity and the fact that we are a melting pot, whether it's forcibly or voluntarily, or, you know what I'm saying, however it is. But I think our strength is that we embrace each other in our diversity, in our skill set, in our differences, and we come together, we make a powerful unit. You know what I'm saying? But if we ignore the origins of things or things that have happened historically, if you're not telling history in a direct and informative and accurate capacity, then we might as well be talking about Harry Potter, because we might as well make up some fiction, because we got
Exactly.
talk about what it was.
That's what we're doing, man. That's what DeSantis is doing. He pulling magic tricks, man.
Yeah, and that's the issue.
He Harry Potter. That's a good name for
Harry Potter.
I'm gonna start calling him Harry Potter.
We at Harry Potter, bro.
I'm calling him Harry Potter. That's his new name.
Yeah, facts, man. That's not right, man. Well, so I think you hit it on the head, man. I just think we got to make each other better, and I don't know what we could do. We got to figure out something, and we got to do more, you know. But we can't let these people. I think it starts off with, with our votes, and we can't let people who are nefarious and have these ill intentions, whether it's to preserve what they have or what they perceive that they have, or whether it's to diminish other people's contribution, whatever it is. We gotta always embrace the truth, man, and embrace the truth, and I think that'll set you free, man, because it's gonna come out, like you said, it's gonna come out eventually, whether it's through my own dedication or my own diligence. It's gonna come out, man. Whether I seek it myself or you teach it to me, we're gonna find out, man. Those that are looking for knowledge is gonna find out, man. You can't hide knowledge forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So it's gonna be discovered, and that's gonna build more resentment, like you already said. So. It's gonna be more resentment.
Yeah, exactly. Man. That's how I feel about it, man.
Yeah, man. So, heck yeah, man. So I like this, man. And my boy DZ asked, we're gonna close it out with this. He said, "What do you think about reparations?" I'm gonna let you field this question, Dr. TC. He said, "What do y'all think about reparations? I have an idea, but most folks don't like my opinion." Once again, too, if you want to send your comments. Send your comments and suggestions in, or tell us how you think or what you think on any of the topics. You can check out engineearstothestreetz@gmail.com. It's going around your ticker right now at the bottom of the screen. Email us, and we will definitely field those questions and address those questions and concerns and suggestions in the next episode. But my boy DZ, he says, "What do y'all think about reparations? I have an idea, but most folks don't like my opinion." So I'm gonna let you field that question. I'm gonna give a little bit to it.
That's one.
And then close it out.
That's one I always. That's a conversation I can honestly say I haven't thought a lot about. Like I've thought about it. I haven't really thought deeply about it, because I am a person. I don't really throw out things that aren't quote unquote logistically possible,
right?
Or make sense. But as far as reparations, I do believe. I believe there could be a real concerted effort to even the playing field. I don't know exactly what that looks like, and I don't mean affirmative action like bullshit.
Right.
I do think there is something to putting money in people's hands.
Right.
But I also do think it's something in opening up a ton of doors. That may not always be a lot of money. I think the money helps. Let's not play. That's the bottom line in this country. Act like you don't need it. You don't need money till you do. Tell you that much.
You don't need money.
Everybody who don't need money got it. That's why I tell you. Everybody who don't need money got it.
Thank you. You don't know what it means to not have it. That's what it is. That's all that means.
Exactly. So the financials of it, I if it ever came up, I think I would be a proponent for it. Like if it came up seriously, I think I would be a proponent for it. I'm not gonna act like there's not issues with it, because this ain't slave times. We're not going to confuse that. This world is a lot more populated and a lot different.
Right.
So it just takes a lot of thought, but I damn sure think it should be some significant avenues open, and I don't exactly know how to pull that off. But I'm not just gonna scream, yeah, everybody 40 acres and a mule, and we'll all be all right. Like, I don't believe that either.
That's a good answer, man. Good informative answer. I like the way that you know what I'm saying. That's what scholars do, knowledgeable people do, man. One of the first signs of wisdom is to admitting what you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's dope, man. I don't know either. That's a great question, number one, DZ. He said that my idea, don't put money in people's hands, put the money in their environment. Reparations goes to red and yellow line areas, like build the schools back up, get rid of food, and get rid of food, desserts, and all deserts, I think he meant, and allow those people to get some resources. So I think my personal opinion, just keep it short and sweet, I agree with what Dr. TC said. I don't know how to go about it, but I think that my opinion would also not to put money necessarily directly in people's hands, but to afford them the same opportunities as others. Like I think a lot of the times where what hurts us the most is the fact that people get, I was watching Snowfall the other day, and I remember there was an episode where he was reminiscing about going to school, and his financial aid didn't post in time. And so because he was one of the few, according to the episode, he was like the only, but let's say he's one of the few black people at the school, and this is in the 80s, they already assumed that he wasn't able to afford this higher education. So they already have him on a short leash. And the fact that it's not that he didn't give the money. When you know about scholarships, and Dr. TC, you know about this, these are all government funded. So whether it's a scholarship, whether it's a fellowship, or whether it's whatever it is, it's going through a government is distributing the money, or some type of higher body. It's not coming directly from your pocket. So if there's a late payment or a late posting of that payment, then they should already know that it's not coming. It's not the fault necessarily of the student, but because if the student looks a certain way or has a certain background, they're gonna have less of a tolerance for them. So I feel like if he was a white student, he would have they wouldn't have no issue. They'd be like, oh, okay, it's just posted late. It's okay. I even went through this, and we're in the 2000s. I had to go fight for the fact that my Pell Grant didn't post on time. What? I'm not in the office. I'm not, what I'm saying? I'm not in the office. I'm not the one that's applying the money that's supposed to be on my account. So I feel like a lot of times reparations could kind of, I guess it's like an ideology and more so of a thinking than it is like, oh, like you said, give me 40 acres and a mule, give me X amount of money. But just afford me the same excuses, or the same, not even excuses, the same leniency or the same understanding that my counterparts, my white and my white brothers and sisters would get as well. You know what I'm saying? Afford me the same opportunity, afford me the same benefit of the doubt, if you will. And I think that would be great for reparations. And I couldn't quantify a number on it, but if somebody said they want to give me 80,000, I'm cool with that too. You know what I'm talking about? I can put that to good use. So I'm not denouncing that or refusing that, but I think it'll be more beneficial to just give us the same opportunities. Like even with let's say President Barack Obama, a lot of people were saying that, oh, he's on vacation time. He's when the economy is going down or we're in a recession. And if you look at statistically speaking, in the time that they vacated or take a vacation, Trump had a crazy amount of vacation time over President Obama, but he was people barely talked about that. But you would think that, I feel like, not that I feel like, I know it's because of how he looks, so people are already going to assume that he's taking, whether or not you think he was a good president or a bad president. I'm not talking about his administration, but I'm saying just a documented time leave. President Trump had a way more documented time leave than President Obama, but you would hear about that. I didn't really hear about Trump being taking time off and stuff like that. So it's just like the stigmas that are associated with people, I think would benefit us a lot, and the benefit of the doubts and the same opportunities, I think, would go a long way. But to answer your question, that's a great question. I don't know. I have to put some thought into it, but that's just me spitballing off the top of my head. So, but yeah, man, if there's anything you want to add, man, I think that'll close it out, man. We're keeping it 100 and Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that reparations are definitely a necessity. I think it should happen.
Reparations is definitely a necessity. I think.
Yes. I just don't know how to go
Before
about
that,
it.
I think we need to. You want to ask me something to change? We need to change this pay scale of the way
Facts.
jobs are paid.
Facts.
Like,
Facts.
you know,
Facts.
I just think that's one of the biggest issues we have now. Anyway, with
Right.
like you say, reparations, make everything even, pay our teachers more, pay people that
teachers
take
more.
care of the community
Right.
more, even our police officers. You know what I mean?
Right.
All the people who take care of our world
Proper
should make
training.
more money, care about their job more.
Right.
You know what I mean? From all races, and
Yep.
pump more monies into these schools and making sure everybody
Right.
educated.
Right. The location
then,
of these schools, and you know what I'm saying. Stop letting
Locations, all of that.
Yeah,
It should
man.
be more of them. It should be better ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And the ability to achieve accreditation or the rewards for those that are doing what they're supposed to do as far as the letter grades for the schools, and you know what I'm saying, the expectations. Try to balance it out. I feel like that'd do good, because a lot of times, like you said, it's just like, you know, some people just fall into the cracks, and you know, I don't know, man. Like I remember I'm gonna give you a personal story. When I was coming to high school, just real quickly, when I was graduating, I took advanced classes, IP courses. I took what they called zero period, which is when I went to was dual enrollment. I had college courses in high school. I still had a 3.5 GPA, so I got the Bright Future Scholarship. I told my exit counselor that I want to be an engineer, and she said, "Oh no, that's too hard for you." By what metric is that too hard for me? You know what I'm saying? Because I think I never told my mama about this, because she probably would have went up there and tried to fight the lady. But you know, it was an older white lady, but she just assumed that engineering was too hard for me, and I didn't know engineer. I guess to her credit, I didn't really I didn't expect the engineer to be this hard. But you know, now I got my PhD in engineering. But why is it too hard for me? If it's too hard for me, that means it's too hard for everybody else virtually at the high school that I went to. That means that nobody in my high school should have been able to have aspirations to be an engineer, as far as a degree seeking, a degree that would be sought upon going to college at the collegiate level. Like, there was nothing that would suggest that I wouldn't be capable, or have the mental capacity to be an engineer. So, needless to say, she was wrong. But the fact that, why would you know what I'm saying, that would just, I feel like just our outlook, you know, I feel like reparations go a long way to just, you know, maybe somehow, some way. I guess it's an ideology. You can't really change people's mental, how they think and how they perceive things, but just a way to just.
But that's one thing where I disagree with people. People say that a lot. You can't change everybody, but I think you can change most people. I think one of the biggest things, and it's real cliche and nerdy or dorky to talk about, but you can't be scared to talk.
Right.
Like, you can't be scared to talk to people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And challenge the thoughts of people. Like, that's one thing I don't really like about, I don't really care for in people, is when, that's one thing, you know, while we sitting here doing this, is I don't care for people I can't challenge their thoughts. Like, I don't believe anybody should be cocky enough to think that the way they have it in their head is the way it's all figured out.
Facts.
Because I challenge everything. I challenge everything people say. That's how I got to a PhD.
Exactly.
By challenging questions in the classroom.
Exactly.
Anybody that tell you be in the classroom, I'm the one that always got a damn question.
That's
when they ask anybody else questions. I'm the one that raises my hand.
That's a fact.
But I don't, you know, so that's a stigma I would like to get rid of with our people, is that we can't change minds. I believe that we absolutely can change minds.
I agree. That's a fact.
It's difficult.
Yeah,
it's difficult as hell. But every day I wake up and I got these, that's for me to change minds.
That's a fact, bro. That's
every
a fact,
time they see me.
That's a fact, man.
I change somebody's mind every time they start talking to me. So
that's true,
and I feel good about that.
Yep, that's a fact, man. I remember I gave my, you know, like you said, it's a stigma with how we look too, and where we from. Not only where we're from, but how we look too. And I remember you were there too, and I also attest to the fact that you always ask questions and stuff like that. Always sit in the front of class and stuff like that. I remember it was coming up and stuff like that. I was always really kind of more reserved and more shy to ask questions and stuff like that. Out of fear of being embarrassed, but you always ask a question. I remember my master's, I made sure my master's thesis that I wore my gold teeth during my dissertation, and I remember you recorded it, not just because, you know, it's uncomfortable for me to have my fronts in, but because I want to let people know that if anybody does see it, that me having gold teeth ain't got nothing to do with me having this up here. I could have an affinity for jewelry. You know what I'm saying? I come from a long lines of kings and queens of Africa, man. We all do. So we have a natural affinity for jewelry. We inherited that shit. So I like jewelry. Yes, I'm sorry. You might like fishing poles and fishing rods. I like jewelry. So it is what it is. So I have my gold teeth in, and that don't change what's coming out of my mouth. What I put in my mouth not coming out. You know, pause. But it necessarily have an impact on what's coming out of my mouth and what's up here. So but yeah, so man, I appreciate that testament, man. I do think that was dope, and something maybe we could talk about next time too. And before we close out, man, I know we posted our last episode. We posted a clip about Anthony Joshua being scared, and somebody named Chidi Debussy he objected to that. He said that you know nothing about boxing, and I want to say no. I know something about, because I said Anthony Joshua was scared. So I just want to address him and let him know that, no, I think we do know about boxing. I just think we don't know nothing about dick riding. And apparently that you, if you could come to any conclusion that if you know about boxing, if you can come to any conclusion that Anthony Joshua isn't the main, primary, sole reason why he didn't fight Luis Ortiz, Tyson Fury, or Deontay Wilder during their heyday, then I think that you a dick rider. So, and I don't know nothing about that. I'm a heterosexual male. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just be honest. I don't know nothing about that, bro. You a dick rider, in my opinion. There's no way that you could say that Luis Ortiz and Wilder fought. Right? Yeah, Wilder fought Tyson Fury. Wilder fought Ortiz. Joshua had the opportunity. They're both from England. Why didn't they fight Fury? He didn't fight Wilder. He's in America right now. He still didn't fight Wilder. He fought Andy Ruiz, who's American. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't fight Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz had plenty of fights. So if you could come to any conclusion besides that Anthony Joshua is the sole reason why he didn't fight any of the big three, or the big four rather, when they were the big four, then I have nothing to talk about, bro.
I just say, you know, to that statement, I would say to that person and generally most people, if the only thing you can tell me is I don't know something about something I'm actually talking about and you listening to, then you should come up with a better argument. At least you should tell me what you know. You clearly don't know anything, but to tell me that I don't know anything.
Facts.
And yeah, Anthony Joshua is ducking. He's scared. That's all right though. It's all right. It's okay. You ain't gotta be you ain't gotta be mad enough to fight everybody. Hell, I ain't getting up with him. But let's not act like you're not running from him. Right. And it's all right.
Right. But we respect your opinion. We appreciate you too.
It's okay from the UK. It's all right.
Facts.
He's getting that power.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir, man. We appreciate you, the comment, man. Like, and once again, hit us up at engineers@gmail, and engineearstothestreetz@gmail.com is going to right across. Send all fan mail there. We will address it just like we addressed Chidi. And yeah, man, we appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you, Dr. TC, for kicking it with me, man, on this episode. It was a long one, over 2 hours, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. We are on Spotify as well. Engineers to the Streets or drpgngm searches there, and listen there, man. When you while you at work or running your chores or cutting your grass or whatever you're doing, man. Or are you driving, commuting to work?
That's
man.
right, man. Holla.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, my boy.
Yes, sir. Peace. Enjoy what you just saw? Follow my other socials as well. Don't forget to like the video.